And we are back with the trio that causes the most shenanigans to discuss all the shenanigans going on in the geek world. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, Brent here back with Geek Variants. Cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. So much more on today's live stream. Joined by my usual co-host, the Feed Me After Midnight man himself, Tony, and the man, the myth,
why I have these.
the Marvel. It's Will. How is everybody doing today? Let's start with Tony. How you feeling,
Huh?
bud? How you feeling?
I'm
Happy to be
good.
back?
Yeah. We got a cat.
That's
I'm
why he's
sorry.
been gone. He got a cat. I don't know what to tell you. And Will, how you feeling?
Just setting up and getting ready to go to Dragon Con. So waiting on
By all
that.
means, go out and see Will this Thursday through Monday at Dragon Con
think
in
that's what it
Atlanta,
is.
Georgia.
It's like Thursday, Monday. I'll be running around there. If you find me, say what's up. If you don't,
Slap
hey.
him upside the head and tell him Iron Man sucks.
Just say Iron Man sucks. Don't do the other stuff. You don't want that.
If you
Mind
say
your
Iron
business.
Man sucks, I will find you. Like,
But with all those shenanigans out of the way, I'm sure the man, the myth, and the guy who is the biggest Marvel fanboy I know, I'm sure there's some things pertaining to your favorite entity that you would like to discuss with the viewers.
oh no, let's just get into it. Everybody's been talking about this for the past couple of weeks and stuff, and everybody want to know. RDJ is back in the MCU, which is like the biggest news, so far. And it's not big for the reasons that you'd think it would be. Like we got Iron Man's returning or something like that. No, he's back as Doctor Doom, which
Lazy.
is unexpected. And while don't get me wrong, I love RDJ. I do. Do I think he'll make a fantastic Doctor Doom? I actually think he would make a fantastic Doctor Doom.
I don't.
I just think
No.
that if you had him as Doctor Doom and not Iron Man, it'd work. It could work. He could do it. But he's already Iron Man, so bringing him in as Doctor Doom, I see where the storyline can go. I see what you can kind of play with,
Anthony Stark.
But there's plenty of other people that could have been cast.
And who was that other person that could have been cast? Brent, do you want to say it?
Mads Mikkelsen, who was already in talks with Marvel to play the character before all of a sudden they pulled this switcheroo, and just to be that guy, RDJ could not hold a candle to the villain that Mads Mikkelsen would have played as Dr. Doom. It would have been
He can't hold a
inspiring
candle
and new take to it.
He can't hold a candle
entirely.
to him as an actor. I said it, and I will die on that hill. Mads is a better actor than RDJ. Period.
Mikkelsen's in his bag when he's a villain, so giving him the best villain in Marvel, yes, I said it, the best villain in Marvel, you could not have gone more right. So the fact that they were in contract talks, good job.
That would have carried
pivot,
that would have carried the MCU for the next 10 years. Easily. You could have, it's so many storylines that you could have ran with him as Doom.
And
with
Mikkelsen
RDJ,
he doesn't have to be physically imposing. You could have had somebody else do the stunts. Mikkelsen could have just done the voice. This could have been the whole Darth Vader thing.
This could have been Ultron all over again.
But no,
who is coming back apparently at some point.
Yeah, he is coming. But I know people that like this casting, but they like it because it's RDJ. I don't like the casting because I think it's lazy. You gave Iron Man one of the greatest deaths in the MCU.
And
he came full circle in the storyline. He did. He was self-absorbent, loner, and now he died as a part of a team, being that guy. And to bring RDJ back as Doom, you got one storyline you can run with it, and that's the Anthony Stark variant storyline. That's not going to carry the MCU. It's not. You're going to have Doom.
Help the MCU.
You're going to have Doom. You're going to have Doom 2 to 3 movies, and then that's it. And Doom is a 10-movie villain. Easy. You could have Doom has his hand in every single book in the Marvel comics. Am I wrong? Correct me if I'm wrong, Will.
No,
He
you're right.
deals with every superhero team. Namor, the Fantastic Four, the
Doctor Strange.
Avengers, Doctor Strange. He has his hands in everybody. Do you know how you could have connected everything with Doom, with the right Doom? And I'm not taking nothing away from RDJ and what he's done in MCU, but this, for me personally, it's a miss. It's a
It's a
miss.
huge miss. There's no way you can call this the right move. Sure, you're going to sell a absolute insane amount of tickets for people to come back and see RDJ. But if you told me that Robert Downey Jr. was coming back to be a variant of Doom, that Mads Mikkelsen comes in and squashes, like, I'm the real Doom, I'm that guy, I'm about that lifestyle. If you wanted to go that whole variant route, that is a move. But saying that you were in contract talk with Mads Mikkelsen and then giving me Robert Downey Jr., sure, just slap me upside the face and tell me I'm an idiot, because that's the wrong decision all the way through. Robert Downey Jr.'s death was perfect in the cinematic universe. There was nothing you needed to change. He was exactly as you said. Everything that Chris Evans called him in the first Avengers film, way back in the early 2000s, he became the exact opposite of it near the end, and he was willing to make the sacrifice for the universe that he never would have done before. And now you're just like, doesn't matter. Anyway, let's continue to get our money because that's just the way Disney operates.
And
Comes
let's
across as tone deaf, and I'd love me some RDJ, but Mickelson,
and
I take hands down.
and let's not act that like the MCU has been putting out good movies since Endgame. Let's not act that way. Let's not act like the Disney / Marvel properties on TV has been stellar up until this point. And this is where you needed to bring in some fresh blood, bring in an actor who anybody who knows him knows he has the chops to give you the best Doom on screen that you could possibly have.
He could have pulled off the Eastern European accent
Easily.
perfectly. And, like, it's
Easily.
entirely in his wheelhouse. This is
He's
part of
done it
who he's been
before.
several
He's done
times.
it before.
Like if you've seen the TV show Hannibal, or you would know exactly who he is. He has been that person before, or he's been that villain. He even replaced Johnny Depp in, the Wizarding World. He's been in these larger than life productions where he's been a mythical type villain. So you're telling me that we get him as an evil genius with magic, insane amount of strength, and just
Dictator,
ability to maneuver around
and
everything going on, and
and he
running his
got
own
people
country?
who will die for him. Come on, bro. You can't convince me that this was the move that you didn't want to make. It should have
Like,
been.
I know I said this the last time we discussed everything evolving, and that Mickelson would have been the better casting. So the fact that it turns out was exactly what was going on, it just hurts that much more. It just means the fans know better than your casting director. That's never anything any company wants to say, let alone these billion-dollar companies that are just bleeding money for the sake of bleeding money.
And that's all they're doing. It's a cash grab because you have one of the more popular actors out right now. You're bringing it back into the fold, and I think it. And we can go by the recent Deadpool and Wolverine movie that you saw Henry Cavill as Wolverine. People wanted to see that for the longest, and they loved it. But when you saw it, could you really see him in a movie being Wolverine? No.
Unfortunately, no.
You could see him in a cameo. It was a great cameo, but can you see him carrying a movie as Wolverine? You can't. And that's what, Robert RDJ, great Iron Man, can carry Doom. I'm saying 2 movies at max before people are gonna be like, okay, what's next?
And that's exactly the opposite of what you want to say. And then, like, while we're on the topic of Deadpool Wolverine, congratulations to it. $1 billion as an R-rated film from the MCU. So, like, huge financial success there. But also the cameos in there involving both Blade and Gambit have people clamoring for both of them to come back at least in some kind of role, which I know our fanboy Tony.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Can you two, because you both have seen the movie and you both have given me your insights, but I have not asked you this question, and I did it for a reason. Can you both sit in front of me right now and honestly tell me that you want Chatham Tatum as Gambit in a solo movie? Can you
I
sit
want
here
it.
and honestly with
I
that
want it.
accent? With
Yep.
that?
Yep.
Dude, that it was worse than Bane in the Dark Knight thing. It was worse. I could not understand anything he said. It sounded like
You can barely understand him in X-Men 97.
no, no, no. Okay, so
I'm in on
that's a
Channing Tatum.
yes. The look is fine, but the accent and I guess it hurts me more because I'm from the South. And I got friends from
I'm
Louisiana.
not from the South for full
I
disclosure.
have friends from Louisiana, and they all looked at me as like, I don't know what he was saying. Now, if you're telling me New Orleans folks can't tell me what he's saying, it's a problem. All right, Will, would you want to see a full channel Gambit movie thing?
As far as he goes,
Oh, I am standing alone.
You are
look,
alone on this
look,
mountain.
I'm alone in the
as
rain.
well, hang on. As far as he goes, so that the way he portrayed his character in the movie fit the tone of the movie, it fit the theme of the movie.
That's
It
not
was
what I
funny.
asked. That's not what I
I'm
asked.
saying. So his character fit that theme, that role. If you were to make another movie with a more serious theme and stuff like that, I don't think I could see him do it. But if you kept that Gambit with that tone and that type of movie, yes, absolutely, I would like to see that with that type of tone. But again, it's got to be two separate things. Like I haven't seen him on the serious aspect. So as far as Gambit, I only seen this aspect of Gambit. So I'm with it. It was funny. I would absolutely watch him again if it was just a solo one-off movie. I would absolutely watch it again. But again, if you're building the X-Men franchise and you're going to keep it going, if you're going to keep it the way it's going with Deadpool, you could run Gambit another movie or two in comedic purposes, no problem. But if you're going to go with the more serious route, so that where it's more the hard hitting stakes with that, I would have to see him play a role to really solidify that.
I do love how no one's saying no to Blade, even though he's like 60 years old.
We already know Blade is they've already said he's getting a movie. But look, I'm telling you now, if you put that Gambit in the X-Men, Scott Summers is going to blow his head off.
That's why
he's going to optic blast his head off. And because he's going to annoy him more than he will annoy Wolverine. Because I watched it and I hated the accent.
Oh,
I'm just happy you watched
the accent. Was atrocious, but it was atrocious in a good way. Like again, it was part of the gag. It fit the theme, so I support it for that. That's it.
I got more questions, and it's about the movie, and of course I asked this question about all movies that have great actors. I've asked this about The Dark Knight when you had Heath Ledger, about if you took Heath Ledger out this movie, would this movie be good? If you take the cameos out of Deadpool and Wolverine, is this movie still $1 billion movie?
Unlikely. Hugh Jackman, though, you probably could have removed, and the film, while it would have suffered financially, the plot would have been largely the same up till the end. It just would have changed one small thing. This felt like a desecration of the Logan character, but at the same time, as far as MCU gags with Deadpool, this is everything you could have ever wanted from Logan and Deadpool. Like,
and I will say
they were a perfect dream team in that scenario.
And I will say that I will backtrack on my statement that you needed a comic accurate Wolverine because,
we saw the cameo.
I saw it, and nope. I looked at it, I was like, nah, that's not workable. that's
like not workable.
No, that's what you wanted. That's what you wanted.
And but I came back and I backtrack, and I always backtrack when I'm wrong. But I know you're not used to it because it's so rare that I'm wrong. But in this instance, I was wrong.
I'll give you that.
In this instance, I was wrong. And I've done it with Brent in the past, and I'm doing it now. They made the right call by not giving us the miniature Wolverine. Look, I'm good with that.
I think that the biggest draws for this movie, again, Wolverine and Deadpool, like you needed them two together to make this what it was. I think some the things that threw it over the top and stuff like that. Seeing Blade was nice because again he helped start Marvel on its path.
Theater erupted where I'm from, so I can't imagine how it reacted where you're from.
Blade absolutely being in there was absolutely necessary for the nostalgia, stuff like that. and then Gambit being in there was just nice to see because again, it's been talked about. We've seen Gambit once before with was it Taylor Kitsch that played it and was like,
Yes, I liked his
all right.
Gambit better.
Yeah, his Gambit was solid with that. I thought we was going to get more of him for that because he played more of a no nonsense kind of Gambit, and I like that about him.
I'm just
So
wondering who asked
if
for
you would tell me
Elektra to come back.
yeah,
Nobody.
Asking for a friend.
Nobody. That you could have kept the Elektra, the movie, everything. You could have kept that because people always, talking about Green Lantern is one of the worst superhero movies of all time. Apparently, you haven't seen Elektra because I would put that against any movie that you can name.
who would you swap
For what?
Just for cameo purposes.
For from older cameos and so that who would you have brought in instead of Elektra?
Instead of
Magneto, his favorite film.
No. I would no X-Men because again this.
Oh, that sucks. Okay. Honestly,
trying to do any X-Men. I want to hear your X-Men pick, but outside of X-Men with that, is there anybody else that you would bring in?
Honestly, no. I mean,
I'd laugh if Crossbones got put in just because
honestly,
he's already been off.
If just because I'm an Affleck fan, I would have loved Daredevil instead of Elektra. But also, that movie was better than Elektra. But if we're talking X-Men, I need Ian and his Magneto to float down. That during the fight scene, if I just took Elektra out and you had Ian coming down as Magneto during the fight scene, I probably would have had another kid. Honestly, right
there. I don't think, and that's the reason I don't think if Magneto was there
in the scale of things because of Magneto having the relationship he does with Charles. To have Charles' sister running around and him not doing anything for that long of a period of time,
I'm telling you,
would be an issue.
And where they were with all that metal around, oh my god!
Magneto would have dominated.
It would have been glorious. It would have been,
and that's why when they said she took him out, I was like, dang, all right.
They wanted to shut that door firm.
Yeah, they shut that door.
It's certain characters that you can consider overpowered, and you cannot really have them perfect in a movie, and Magneto is one of them. You can't have a 100% portrayal of Magneto in a movie. He has to be weaker than the comics, just like Hulk. You can't have a comic accurate strength Hulk in any movie. He's just too powerful. You can't control him. And again, you cannot have a comic accurate Wolverine. You cannot.
Because like as far as the Void's concerned, you'd have to use a character that has already been offed.
Yep.
At least done decisively, or their universe itself has been offed. So it's like that's why I was like, Crossbones is the only name that's really sticking out to me because we know definitively he had a building dropped on him. Well, no, he didn't building drop on him. He got
that was part of that though. That's still
you could have brought in Psylocke.
Could have, but is that really the route you want to go?
No, I would have been older. So at that, I would either brought in freaking Ghost Rider or Punisher.
I would have not brought Nicolas Cage anywhere near this movie.
No. How dare you?
Yes, I would have done it. I'd have done it.
Nicolas Cage,
but I would have made this film go from $1 billion to a couple $100 million.
You would have lost money if you brought Nicolas Cage.
I would have wanted him.
Offered nothing to the film, but that's still more than Nicolas Cage would have brought.
It would have been hilarious.
Let me tell you something.
Died laughing.
And we've had this, and I'm glad I can say this on a live stream. Nicolas Cage is a bad actor, and there's a lot of them out there. I know people are going to hate me for this, but Keanu Reeves is a bad actor. He is a one-tone actor. The Rock is a bad actor. He's not even the best wrestler turned actor. That would be Batista. The Rock is a bad actor.
And Cena's coming up too. So
Cena's coming up with Peacemaker. That showed a lot. But no, you have bad actors, and when you put bad actors in good movies, the movies turn bad.
Oh, I want to bring it in for you so bad.
Do it. But no, Nicolas Cage.
The worst thing you could possibly do to him, like aside from resurrecting the Fox X-Men universe and the bad one, the new one.
And that wasn't even a good Sabretooth. They didn't bring in the Sabretooth that I wanted them to bring in. I didn't want
that kind of bugged
me. Dumb, stupid Sabretooth was not the best. Me. I'm glad they killed him. I'm glad they got rid of him. But no, I hate that because I hate all the Fox X-Men movies.
All right. Look, so all jokes aside, so that because again,
I was being serious.
Oh no, like me,
Spelled it.
me wanting to bring
It was
Ghost
very
Rider
clear.
for you again. I love feeding into his nonsense. He get mad every time you mention Nicolas Cage.
God,
he
It's
get
a
mad.
trigger button.
name a good Nicolas Cage movie. Was just him.
I,
Can't say
I
Face Off because
can't.
that was John
I
Travolta.
can't.
We feel the
I
same
can't.
way.
Look, I can't. All right,
Can't
but
say
no,
Con Air. Can't say Raising
serious.
Arizona.
No, because it wasn't just him. But
Exactly.
with Sabretooth and stuff like that, yeah. When they brought in, and especially when they did the whole thing where he said, he cut his head off, it's like that was meant for the other Sabretooth.
Right.
Because again, that was the whole kind of theme when they were freaking going back and forth. It's like, that's what I'm gonna try is cut your head off. And that's the only way he could stop him. So doing it with this Sabretooth was absolutely annoying. Like, I didn't want this one. I wanted the other one. They changed up the villain from the Punisher, because remember it was Kevin Nash that was
Oh,
dang,
the
what's
You
his
Russian.
couldn't
name?
touch him with a 10
Yeah,
foot
the
pole.
Russian,
The
something like
Marvel
He was
that.
the Russian.
Universe. No
Yeah.
way.
So a couple things they changed up a couple characters again, probably their budget. You saw the Pixie from you see some of the X-Men characters and stuff like that who were off to the void and stuff. It's like that. Um,
I don't mind him doing that, but you can't do it with C-list characters that don't nobody know because
no one cares.
yeah, no one cares about Pixie and the stupid people that don't make didn't even make it to X Force or X Factor. Didn't make it. Why do we care about them?
but you kill people like Darwin, like
You know what I'm saying? Which
Buttons. You are hitting every button.
Darwin has yet to lose a fight in comics because his main power is adaptability. He adapts to anything. He literally fought the Hulk and didn't lose because his body said the best way to beat the Hulk is not to be here, and he teleported away.
I feel like the only character that could do that would be like Manhattan and go.
No,
There's
because
nothing
then
for
he
you to adapt
adapts.
to.
he can Darwin
him
adapts
in, like,
to
a void
anything.
of
That
nothingness.
is his power. He is like the unkillable. He's almost as unkillable as the stupid little character, Mr. Immortal, the little stupid comic character, the goofball, because he can't die. You could kill him and he comes right back. That's his superpower. Would you really want that superpower though? Would you really want it?
No,
not really.
Like
my
But
only power is I'm going to survive the fight.
right. You're gonna
That's it.
like cut my head
No
off.
one said I couldn't suffer.
Yeah, he still feels
Yeah.
all the pain, and he just comes right back. It's annoying. I couldn't do it.
So again, with different characters, different superheroes being brought in and stuff like that, you see we're finally getting Captain America, and we're getting Red Hulk, which was announced at San Diego Comic-Con and stuff as well. I mean, we already kind of knew, but we actually got to see some movies, and I've seen way too much spoilers. If you haven't already known, let's say there's several spoilers right that freaking Thunderbolt Ross is the president, and freaking he is Red Hulk. So how this is going to turn out is kind of whatever at this point. You got a no powered Captain America squaring off against Red Hulk, and it's just like, okay, what
Which
are
is
they
not
gonna
a fight. Which is not a fight.
What are
Anybody
they
who
gonna do?
knows this. Are you
What are
really
they
telling
gonna
me
do?
you're going to have a Falcon versus a Hulk and expect the Falcon to win?
No,
That's
no.
not.
It's a Captain America versus the Hulk
It's Captain
with
Falcon.
a new
Captain America
Falcon
without the
sidekick.
serum.
No, he's got a new Falcon sidekick.
Is it a real Falcon? Because he had a Falcon.
No, he's not Red Wings or that, but no, the guy, he's in green. The guy who's in the Falcon and Winter Soldier show.
I didn't see
his
the well,
partner.
I didn't see the trailer yet. Maybe I need to watch the trailer, but I
The
saw
trailer
like
looks good, but it is in fact a
it's
trailer.
it's just a red Hulk.
Yeah.
So
So
It's like,
don't need to
there's
be
a lot
fighting.
of ways they could go with it, but at the same time, they kind of wrote themselves into a corner to where you're going to need a Hulk cameo of some kind, whether it be Hulkling or
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk or regular Hulk to
Don't
go ahead and
look.
make this.
Don't bring She-Hulk
I
I know
anywhere.
Scar.
I hate you and everything you stand for, because that was not Scar.
They didn't bring him not to use him, so at some point,
I would
it's gonna
at
come
this
to
point
streaming.
you can not use Scar because that was atrocious. And I don't care who out there likes She-Hulk. That show was so bad. You cannot explain to me how he gets hit by a Jeep and he doesn't stop. How does he get carried by a Jeep Wrangler? I know it's some poles at my building that come up out the ground that can stop a Jeep Wrangler. How can the Hulk? I hate you. I hate you.
Why do you keep hitting all of his buttons? You can't let him have anything to do.
They had She-Hulk twerking.
But they had
Bruh.
Megan the Stallion.
I don't care. This is
I'm just trying to find a positive silver lining here.
So
There's not much.
speaking
There
of,
is no silver lining for She-Hulk. None.
other characters, like we know several other things are
She
coming.
wasn't even
out.
green. She looked like a pale olive. She looked like this. She was this
what
color.
you did?
Jesus.
Look, we got other characters and shows. So we've got Ironheart on the way, apparently being redone with her suit
Because she was
again,
an
she
utter and complete failure from the Black Panther 2 film, which
she
no one will
didn't
say
do
flat out
nothing.
was bad, even though it was.
I'll
Why
say
is
it.
no one saying that?
No, after
I'll
watching
say
the
it.
whole movie and stuff like that, Namor should have just dominated Wakanda. Like that should have been it.
What do you mean
Namor,
I
should have?
said that when
He
it came
did.
out. I said that in the
he
review.
did, but he stopped. He stopped. He was being. It was so nice of him to just stop and say,
This
"Okay,
wasn't
let's be
T'Challa
friends."
was a
Black
bad film.
Panther. This wasn't T'Challa Black Panther that can actually beat Namor in a fight. This was Shuri, who has no training whatsoever in a suit that she
combat
just
experience.
got, going against Namor, who is superhuman and can fly. Absolutely made no sense. And then they had Wakanda, the army on the boat. Me and Will were in the Marines.
You just
We
literally
know for a
walked right in
fact
their territory.
you went into their territory with a limited army against an unlimited army, and you expected to win. That's not how they
Wakanda forever, my friend.
Doesn't
Wakanda
make
forever.
sense. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do, but Ironheart is being reset up. We got Armor Wars with Rhodey at some point, which you still got to kind of figure out more of that because of the whole scroll thing. You've got Doomsday, Secret Wars,
RDJ,
Blade still in limbo. Yep,
Blade's not happening.
Blade's still in limbo.
Blade's not happening.
Thunderbolts is, apparently finished up.
At best.
Yeah, we don't know what we're getting from that.
Do we
at this point the Suicide Squad for Marvel where we have to ask for a director's cut to get a decent film out of it?
Yes.
Yeah, because this is supposed to be Suicide
Squad. Also, aren't people supposed to get the movie right the first time to the point you don't need a director's cut?
Yes.
Like when did that become a social norm among society that we just said, you guys get a redo on this $100 million budget?
If we look at the Thunderbolts that are in the Thunderbolt movie, I'm not impressed by them.
Black Widow, Yelena,
okay.
U.S. Agent,
okay.
Bucky, Red Guardian,
Peacemaker,
wrong universe,
Taskmaster.
I'm trying to get back at him. Leave me alone.
It does not. That was not going to work. Taskmaster, which that's your favorite version of Taskmaster, right? So
it is because it was stupid, and everything about that movie was stupid. Everything.
Why was Black Widow released after we already knew she died? What was the purpose?
Because
cash grab. No, don't start spinning the red string. Don't do that.
Let him do his red string. No, it's a red string.
The movie was released because she was promised a movie and stuff like that, and they just wanted to fill in.
And technically, it was a prologue.
Yeah, it was a prologue.
It wasn't even a good one though, because then it just makes you ask more questions as to
the whole purpose of that was just to introduce Yelena.
And just to say this so people know, Black Widow cannot beat Taskmaster.
Not any universe.
None of her. No version of Black Widow can beat any version of Taskmaster or Peacemaker.
Because Taskmaster was taking on the Avengers, not just Black Widow, the Avengers, and giving them problems
and soloing all of them. Because that's the only person he has a problem with is Deadpool, because Deadpool is crazy,
unpredictable,
and he's crazy. And he said that. He said, "You're too crazy. I can't pick your moves." So yeah.
So that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is, in layman's terms, as we're fully explaining and going in depth with things, in shambles. Even though they just had Loki, great, X-Men '97,
Loki was great. Oh my god, I enjoyed Loki so much.
Loki was great.
Also great.
What If was solid. Like again, it was great for animations with that. It was a fun little thing. Absolutely enjoyed it. And these other shows and stuff that come in, like we got Agatha on the way.
So no one's talking about it. There's not even a single.
What is the point of Agatha right now?
Because the Scarlet Witch show, because the Scarlet Witch show was also trash and nobody cared about it. Well, I didn't care about it. No, it was horrible. I understand.
I like at the right time. That's all we can definitively say. Everyone was glued to their TVs.
No,
because of the time frame.
No.
It was a good draw as far as how they were starting it and stuff like that in terms of the theme behind it. We're thinking, oh, this is kind of 70s. What is this? And after that, we just kind of ran through, and it's just like, here's a taste of this, here's a taste of that, but we're gonna throw it all apart. And then Vision's back, but don't know
Not,
who he is.
and then there's a new Vision,
Yeah,
White
freaking
Vision.
yeah.
That was
So
a waste of character.
that was the point there, freaking because Vision, Wonder Man, the whole freaking thing, like none of that made any sense. Yeah, so I don't know what they're doing with that. And then you still got Sony, who was preparing to get their Spider-Verse going a bit more by adding
Don't talk about
Venom 3
it.
and Craven.
Let's not talk about neither one of those. We can just say they're out there. We don't have to discuss them because
Venom 3 drops
it
this year.
It's gonna be garbage. Oh, it's gonna be garbage.
I don't
Venom
have
3
high
running
expectations,
around.
even though Tom
So-
Hardy's a great cast.
I didn't have high
Rock.
expectations after watching half of Venom. Halfway through the original Venom movie, my expectations just dropped from, oh, this is going to be great, to when is this going to end?
I'm looking. So you haven't played the Spider-Man 2 game. Craven in the Spider-Man 2 game, fantastic.
Craven in the
We're not
comic
getting
book
that. It's Sony. It's Sony.
Oh, Craven the comic books, though. But
is a
You're gonna
beast.
get another Madam Web with cameos that no one likes.
Why did you mention that one? Could you just said you could have just
Because
said
it's
any
factual.
song?
It's Sony. It is copy and paste. They do terrible films. That's it. That's all
And
they know
as
how to
bad
do.
as bad
They're
as
just
Madam
trying to make
Web
sure
was,
the MCU doesn't get theirs.
as
That's
bad as Madam Web was, Electra was worse.
That's
Electra
not a
was
good
worse.
conversation to have. I wouldn't want to
I
watch
don't
that
think
conversation.
was it
I
worse
would-
box office wise.
It was worse.
I don't think
Oh,
box office,
every-
even
I don't
with
think
our
it was box
inflation
office
numbers.
wise.
Let me tell you something. I would watch Madam Web again voluntarily.
You actually watch
Get
it?
off the stream.
I did.
Get off the stream. No, get off the stream.
Before I watch Electra again.
I won't do either. But the fact that you said you would watch it again, I'm not watching either again.
If you
but
gave me a
won't
choice,
watch Lord of the Rings.
no. If you gave
I won't
stop.
watch that either.
If you gave me a choice between watching Madam Web or Electra, I'm watching Madam Web again. Electra was just that bad.
I mean, yeah, I'll watch Madam Web over Lord of the Rings. I'm sure.
No, you won't, because you haven't watched. You can't
No.
say that because you haven't watched
You're not
Lord
gonna
of the
trigger me
Rings.
with that weak sauce. No.
Yes, yes, I got you, Brent. I'm gonna protect you, Brent. Until you watch
maybe
Lord
we'll
of the
try.
Rings, you cannot make
One of
that
these days.
statement.
One
You cannot.
of these days, I guess.
No, it's not
maybe
gonna happen.
possibly.
I'm the only one that's getting triggered today.
I will fly
Oh.
out to Atlanta, be like, hey, sorry, Will's wife,
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to kidnap him for 15 hours. He's gonna watch the extended edition.
gonna-
He's
you're
gonna come
gonna
out a whole
need
new
me.
man.
You're gonna
I'll
need
fix
me
it.
because he's not coming voluntarily.
I'm not.
You're gonna-
Not at all.
You gotta treat him like Mr. T on the A teams. You have to drug him.
All right. All right. So last movie, Fantastic Four. We got
I
first steps.
don't know what to expect with this. Like, I'm excited because Pedro keeps getting work, but
I don't
everything
see
else
him as
about
Mr.
it just
Fantastic.
seems questionable.
I don't see him as Mr. Fantastic. I don't.
He's not giving me Mr. Fantastic vibes. I think he's a great actor. He's not giving me the vibes. So again,
just
I gotta
not.
just wait till I
He's
see
just
it.
completing his Infinity Gauntlet of the Geek universe because Last of Us just finished recording for season 2 and it should be out coming in 2025.
I'm glad you
So,
mentioned
yeah,
that. We'll talk
that's
about
good.
that after we talk about how he should not be Mr. Fantastic.
Who should be Mr. Fantastic?
Honestly,
It's a hard role to cast.
I still wanted that Krasinski and Emily Blunt. I thought that was going to be a great pairing.
Krasinski, yes,
I think Emily
but it
Blunt pulled off.
was his was so short of a
Yeah.
of a
And it was
of
in a
part.
terrible film.
Give me the
Again.
OG. Give me Mr. OG, Reed Richards,
Eon Grufford.
Grifford or what?
I
Harry
can't- I
Potter
can't
guy.
say that.
Gryffindor.
He was not a bad Mr. Fantastic.
He was
He
not.
was not. The movie was not good, but him as Mr. Fantastic, I got the vibes from it.
How many movies did they get out of that franchise? 3?
Two. They got two
Two.
out of that one.
Is
And
that
then they
one and then Rise of the Silver
Fantastic
Surfer,
Four and then Rise of the
reboot.
Silver Surfer.
And then they
Yeah.
recast it to that god awful younger version that made
So I can't believe
absolutely
Michael
no
B.
sense.
Jordan was involved in that. It's like, yo.
I didn't mind that casting. I can understand, step brother and stepsister. That's fine. But the storyline in general was trash. Dr. Doom's character, the way he got his powers, trash. I mean, it was no saving grace about that movie at all. Nothing. At least in the OG Fantastic Four, you had some good castings.
Other than Jessica Alba.
other than Jessica Alba and her bad wigs. That you could
That
have
was
kept.
bad.
That was you could have kept. Thing, Mr. Fantastic.
And
I
those
would.
old Dooms are terrible. Just,
I
no, all the way through.
I only like the OG Doom because he was on Nip Tuck, and I liked him on Nip Tuck.
He was good on Nip Tuck. He was
He
great.
was good on Nip Tuck, and he gave that
But
villain
he
vibe on
had
Nip
his
Tuck.
Doom.
He did a B level version of Doom, but he is still the best version of Doom we have right now.
God, that's awful
If
to
you
say out
compare
loud,
him
ain't
to
it?
if you compare him to all the other Doctor Dooms we got live action, he is still the best one.
Will he be better than RDJ?
Yes,
Right now,
yes,
from
yes.
his like just his menace, just the way he looks when he was in the first movie, just like his looks, his attitude, and stuff like that. Right now, yes, I give it to him. I
Yeah,
definitely give it to him.
he was perfect.
I have
The
not
way
seen RDJ do Doom yet,
when he
so
was sitting in the chair after they got back from space and he started peeling off his face and then he started to use his powers accidentally, that gave me Doom vibes. It did. I had no problem with the first movie except for the script and album. That was pretty much it. The actors, the other three, Doom, Thing, and Mr. Fantastic. We're not
Johnny
gonna talk.
Storm wasn't even
We,
mentioned.
we're not gonna talk about him because we already know he
Flame
was trash.
on.
We know that was trash. But those three right there, I think were great casting calls. I honestly do. And I wouldn't mind seeing Giffen come back as Mr. Fantastic in the new one.
But this is also the problem we're running in with Marvel. They just keep reusing things. And if we keep saying it's okay to keep doing this, we're going to keep getting more castings like RDJ where everyone straight up knows this is a cash grab. This isn't
It is.
about who's the best role or who's the best actor for the part. This is a cash grab. Or they have a very specific storyline, in which case everyone already knows what it is. It kind of takes some of the gusto out of it. Sure, they'll do a different version of it. So people are like, it's not copy and paste, but it's as dang close as you can be without being hit with plagiarism in a sense, even though they own the IP for it.
I mean, they
Right.
got changed up. I mean, they changed up how the entire Infinity Gauntlet freaking saga, that whole
Yeah,
thing,
but they
how it
also
worked.
did Civil
But
War, and there
you
was 8
but
people.
but you had no choice because you didn't own the rights to the
Yep.
important characters.
And now
A
that you
lot of
have it, you
people,
can fix things.
and again, this is another thing that Brent has drilled this into my head to stop comparing comics to the movies, but I can't. And everybody that tells me that Endgame and Infinity Gauntlet was such a great movie, I'm like, yes, it was great for what it was, but it could have been better.
It could have been better.
It could have
It
been
could have
better,
been.
but it still
Better.
hit emotionally for everybody.
You were missing the Guardians, the X-Men. Adam Warlock and Silver Surfer played major
Major
roles
roles.
in the Infinity Gauntlet saga. Major roles. Nebula was a
Nebula running
bigger character
around.
than
Yep.
Nebula was
With
such
her
a big
luxurious
character.
hair.
You know what I'm saying? When she grabbed the gauntlet after Thanos beat Eternity and became Eternity himself, Nebula snatched the Infinity Gauntlet, and now she was the big bad. And she was wrecking people. It could have been so much more. And people, if you have not read the Infinity Gauntlet saga, read it. You'll see what we're talking about. You'll see where Thanos backslaps She-Hulk and Thor and turns him into tree moss. It was great. How Wolverine actually tried to kill Thanos by jumping into him with his extended claws, and Thanos turned him into rubber. Hulk and Drax was beat down Thanos. Thanos stood up and smacked them like they were bugs. It could have been so much better. It was good for what it was. I'm glad people enjoyed it. I had to turn off my mind to watch it.
That's
was
the exact purpose of the MCU at this point. And
Yeah,
now
you
the
have
fact that
to.
people are staring at it the way that they are, even with their minds turned off and not enjoying it, that's kind of a problem. And hopefully we get more products like X-Men 97, Deadpool,
Great.
Wolverine,
It was
more
great.
Loki type products, because those are good. We're not saying everything is bad. We're just stating that there have been a lot of misses since Endgame, and it seemed like Feige is really grasping at straws to kind of fix
Great.
something that he didn't probably anticipate going on as long as he did. But now, because the cash cow keeps coming in, he can't just be like, we're done. That's it. That's all I planned for. I'm panic writing right now. We didn't have this scripted. And that's why, like, if you had to go and be like, hey, Will, who's the current Avengers we have left to stop Doctor Doom? It looks like a C-list squad of nobodies who ain't going to
They
do nothing.
are,
So
and they
can't
can't
touch
stop
Doom.
him. and again, this was one of my main points when the MCU was kicking off. They are lucky DC was so bad at putting out movies, because if DC ever got their act together after Endgame, they could have taken the MCU out. With all the bad movies that the MCU put out and all the bad products, if DC would have came right and got their heads, tell Warner Bros., hey, stop doing this way. Let us do it the way we can. DC could have ended the Marvel universe. It would have been no more MCU.
I wouldn't say ended. I wouldn't say ended. They definitely would have taken over. They definitely would have taken over.
The MCU would have fallen off so far.
It's all backed by Disney. It's
all
not
the
gonna
bad,
go anywhere.
all the bad products that they got out, you could not have sustained this.
It's Disney.
It doesn't matter. Bad products is bad products. Consumers are not going to
Disney
keep
is not going nowhere no time soon. And you think
if you got
DC's got a good freaking movie line for 10 years, they're gonna end freaking Marvel? No.
If you got two products that are similar, right? Two products that are similar, and then all of a sudden one starts to go down and down. Oh, that's the wrong finger. Let's go down and down. If one goes down, those consumers aren't going to support the one that's going down. They're going to all go to the one that's good
and get the best of both.
You see what I'm saying? So if DC would have came in, at least been some competition for Marvel, which they have never been. But if they could have been any slight competition for Marvel and put out better products, they would have taken over, and Marvel would have been an afterthought. They would have been.
You think people can't step their game up? Like even now and stuff like that. Look how it went down. Marvel had freaking movies on top of movies and stuff like that. DC has had the animated game on lock. They have run the gauntlet with animated, like
exactly.
But
again,
right?
DC is not
transition that to live action.
But they didn't. So Marvel has no competition. That's why we're getting bad products from Marvel. If you're coming out and you're giving me bad products from Marvel, and then DC comes out and gives bad products, you're going to stick with Marvel because they already have a track record of being good. But if all of a sudden Marvel starts to put out all these bad products after bad product, and then DC drops a banger, can you imagine what happened if Aquaman came out and it would have been a killer? What if Shazam 2? If Shazam 2 came out and would have been a killer?
No, let's not Can you?
But anyway, I said if. I said if.
That's a really big if.
But no, I said if. Competition builds competition. So again, Marvel would have to step their game up. If they did not, and so like that, and
they would have fallen off.
Run away with it, and so like that, it'd have been a problem.
That's my
thing. But again, they're going to
Marvel was putting out all. Marvel was putting out all these bad products. If DC would have came out and gave you 4 solid movies in a row, people would have jumped ship from the MCU to the DC. They would have. And then Marvel would have still been scrambling, and they still would have had these. Come on now, Echo. Come on now.
Was trash.
Come on now. Come on now.
What about it?
You putting out stuff like that? Take away the Loki series. Because that's top tier. You can't argue against nothing about Loki. It was top tier.
Loki was good.
All the other stuff.
Night was good, and that was just a little special.
You know what I'm saying? All these other little tidbits that they're feeding people that they're saying is caviar is actually cat food, because that's what it is, but they have no competition. It's the same thing way back in the day. Y'all are too young, but we had a company in Atlanta in the South called Ma Bell. You know what Ma Bell did? Telephone service. You know what she did it from? Texas to Kentucky to Carolina, and everything below that was hers. She was a conglomerate. You know what the government did? They broke it up. That's how you got AT&T. That's how you got all the other little services. But she had no competition. And that's why she could dominate so much. The MCU has no competition. They don't.
I'm hoping that they're about to.
I don't see it from DC because they lost all my faith. And I'm a DC guy, but they've lost all the faith I've had in them.
But they're not dead. They're not dead. That's the thing. So
Sony's
Marvel
not
ran away.
Sony's not dead, but do we have any faith in them? Do we have faith in them? No. No.
For animated.
No, come on now. Do you think Craven is going to be any good?
I said animated.
I asked the question.
I'm talking about Spider-Verse.
I'm asking you a question.
I answered your question.
I'm asking you a question, Will. Do you think
Craven? You're asking me another question now.
Is Craven
or Craven's going to be trash.
Or Venom 3? Either one of them going to be better than Morbius. Any one of them are going to be better than Morbius.
Huh? Better than Morbius? I think Craven could be better than Morbius. I'm sorry, Morbius was fucking.
I think a wet blanket could be better than Morbius, but that's
But you see
another
what
point.
I'm saying?
I'm gonna jump in
But
here
If
right
any
now.
of if
Hey, take a break. Take a pause. Take a pause. Just a couple seconds. You guys are both very wound up. The only thing I've heard from DC fans for the last 20 years is what if. At a certain point, I'm tired of hearing the words "what if."
we
Just
have
give
no
us a
faith,
good product.
we have no
That's
faith
all we
in
want.
any
As
of the
geeks, we
people
want.
that's
I'm
doing
still
live
going here.
animation.
I'm still going here.
I'm sorry, but I
If
have to
all
defend them.
geeks can eat, that's what we want. No one wants to sit here and listen to the Marvel heads go off about how their product is superior when it's the only product out there that we have to choose from. We want both DC and Marvel to cook.
Not
We want
Sony.
both universes to be absolutely at their best because they know that if they're not, there's another product we can turn to. We
And
have
that's my
turned
point.
as fans to another product such as Invincible because look, Prime Video, when they're making their superhero stuff, such as Invincible or The Boys,
Or
they've been
Gen V.
hitting. So people know that there is another product out there that you can turn to, and it is better. And it's not arguably, it's not questionably, it's
100%.
they don't miss. They haven't missed yet. This was Marvel when it started. This is how the level and tier which it is producing. Prime Video, I'm giving you your flowers. You deserve it. Sure, we're going to talk a little bit iffy about one of your products coming up, but that's when we get there. We're still talking about Marvel and DC. Right now, people are turning to other products because, well, there's either fatigue or it's just bad product.
And that's
we
what
want it to be
DC has
good.
been
I
putting
don't
out.
care whether it's a female character or a male character, a non-binary character. Please, good story. That's it. That's the bar.
Because I
DC
think
story.
nobody here cares about any kind of ethnicity switching or gender swapping. We don't care because
The
sometimes it
boys did
works,
like religiously.
and it worked for them. They had to change the storylines, but the storylines they changed, it worked. And to my DC people, stop defending our bad product. Our product is trash. It's the bottom of the barrel dumpster juice that you see in Men in Black. Stop defending it. It's not good. None of it. We had a couple mid-tier Aquaman, the original Shazam, mid-tier movies, but neither one of those movies can carry this. I would have loved to see what would happen if Justice League would have got its due, because then that would have changed everything. But we don't have that. The only thing we have is what little hope that we have left, and it's very minimal at this point.
Because like
And
Peacemaker has been hitting. That's
it has been.
what you can say.
But again, you can if you have 10 shows and 2 are good, people are not going to know those 2 shows. They're going to know those are the 8s that are just bad.
Because the Batman, while I know it's a whole separate thing, the Batman hit.
It hit hard.
Peacemaker hit
Hard.
The Penguin looks like it's
feels
going
like
to
it's gonna hit. Like,
Let me tell you, I'm glad you
about it. Why? What? I haven't seen a single geek page talk about the Penguin. Why?
You
want to
know, and this is why. It's because it's a DC product, and we are not getting our hopes up. Do you know how many times I have gotten my hopes up about movies from DC? Like, okay, this has got to be the one. Okay, this was not the one. Maybe the next one coming out is going to be okay. I don't know what y'all are doing. By your 4th or 5th time saying that, you hear, oh, the Penguin's coming out. All right, I'll watch it when it comes. That's all you're going to get.
Because look, this show could be the sneaky pick for show of the year. And there are a lot of great shows that came out within this year. Because The Boys, Fallout,
Fallout was great.
And then we've had a couple like Loki absolutely hit. Like, we're not taking anything away from that. So it's like there are shows that have been sneaky good. With the Penguin, this could be the series that puts DC back on there where we're like, yo, this is what we've been asking for this whole time.
I like
this could hit in the way that we wanted Gotham to hit, in which it was hit and miss for me personally. I enjoyed it, but it was hit and miss at times. Go ahead.
Because you brought it up, so you know it's gonna happen. I'm gonna say on the record that I like Gotham. I'm not saying that I liked everything about Gotham. I'm gonna say the direction that the season 1 took was a great path. I love the introduction of certain characters. I loved how they flushed out certain characters. Then you had a couple seasons that were like
what the heck is going on?
Like I don't know what's going on. Then it came back on track and it ended decent. It didn't end strong, but it ended better than where it was the season before. Overall, I did like it, but also I treated this as an Elseworld. I didn't treat this as canon, and I didn't just not main universe.
The same way that the Penguin's going to end up being
and
treated
the Batman
it's a separate thing.
And the Batman, arguably the greatest Batman live action movie ever with Robert Pattinson. I didn't think I would ever say that because of him. That's arguably the best Batman movie, but it's also considered outside the realm of the main DC universe.
Which I don't know why they don't just say, you know what, I was an idiot, I was wrong, we're including it. It's like, if you have something that hits, just say it's
you could literally
work our way towards that.
And I had to explain to people like, I didn't like this Batman. And I asked them why. And they was like, it wasn't no action. I was like, you do understand that this was year 2 Batman. And after I explained that this was young, 25, 26-year-old Batman, he just got back from his crusade of learning every martial art known to man. He just got back. This isn't, Christian Bale. This isn't Affleck, the older, the owner, Ben Affleck, the owner of the greatest live action Batman fight scene ever. This isn't him. He is still learning to be Batman. He is fear right now.
We saw him get knocked out by a railing that was just out there. He just
he jumps off a building with a parachute and gets beat up by a bridge. Come on now. OG Batman is not going to do that. But this is a kid still mastering what he is. And I gave her, I forget the 3 stories, but it was 3 stories that they took from and they merged it together beautifully.
And if they do that again in another film,
you can literally throw everything away before this and start right here with him and introduce an entire new Batman storyline. You could throw all the other movies away, all Dark Knight, all of them. You can throw all those away. I hate to say it, I love you, Heath Ledger, but we can throw all your movies away and start with this one because this is a perfect starting point. Year 2 of a Batman, you have a great Riddler. Oh my God, I love that Riddler.
That Riddler hit.
The GCPD is exactly what you expect them to be. Gotham was exactly what you expected to be. This was probably the perfect rendition of Gotham that I have seen in any live action. And I would argue even Batman animated series, I think this Gotham rivals that one. Which is just the feel of it. When you looked at the Gotham out, when they went out, you felt the despair in the air. And that's what Gotham is. This isn't Metropolis, where it's hope. No, everybody here is miserable. There's crime ridden, and you got a 26-year-old Batman. And then you got, and again, you introduce a character that's not even Penguin yet. He's still a cobblepot. He's not a crime boss. He's a henchman. This is the perfect springboard to start something that you can build on for the DCU.
And it looks like they have a young Superman that they've already cast and put in the role. I don't know how people feel about it, but I know that we have a young
people
Superman
are hating. People are hating the costume. I mean, it's a costume. Y'all hated it when
CGI touch it up, and then
they hated him when they hated Cavill when he got rid of the red underwear first, and then he turned out to be great. Come on now, it's a costume. If the actor is good enough, you forget what they're wearing. You see them as that character.
The costumes change every movie anyway. It's never the same costume.
But again, I think that if you take the Batman, because if you take it from here, you can start something, and this is where you have to. And I will give this to Marvel. They built their universe perfectly in the beginning. And I think DC, the problem with them is they tried to rush it. They gave us a Justice League movie before we knew everybody in the Justice League. Nobody knew who Cyborg was unless you was a comic head. You didn't know who Cyborg was. You didn't know his backstory.
You did watch Teen Titans and you assume you knew everything. So you're like, why is he with the Justice League? He's normally with them. And be like, now Cyborg kind of does both. He's able to just kind of hang out.
Well, they did retcon it, I want to say about 15 years ago, that he was a founding member. And he just went to Teen Titans. But, he was a founding member of the Justice League. I think they took out Martian Manhunter. I can't remember which one. I know they switched it, but this will be a perfect stepping stone for DC to start their universe. Because when the Batman 2 comes out and it's Mr. Freeze or Clayface or whoever they want to put out there.
Not Joker.
Please. Even though you can hint to Joker in any movie you want to.
You can
just
like they do around all the live long day. Have him be the finale character. Have him be like
I don't even need him as he don't even need to be a finale character. You can literally put him in the Injustice Society, and I'm good with that. Have him over there then you can bring
Give
in
us
the
Court of
Justice
Owls
League.
before you give us Joker.
Court of Owls, I think, is going to be 3 and 4. That's my guess.
My only issue with the DCU doing their new change that they're keeping Peacemaker the same as it was. We already saw Jason Momoa as Aquaman in Peacemaker. That's the only bit of like canon that you're like, it's gonna be a little iffy to kind of work around that. But,
Can we get Jason Momoa as Lobo? Can we do that, please?
He should have been Lobo from the begin with, but he was a fantastic Aquaman, so I can't be mad at that either. It's like he's Aquaman, just good for the DC universe. He's got their look that they're looking for.
But if we think about it, that Aquaman movie doesn't exist when you watch the Zack Snyder version of Justice League.
We're giving them excuses.
But you see, it don't work. The movie shouldn't exist.
They shouldn't, but his character already does.
But again, this goes into the way the MCU did it right. DC did it wrong. DC gave us a team movie before they gave us the individual movies. Give us the individual movies, and you can give us a team movie.
Build them up.
And that's why it's no competition for the MCU, and they can put out bad products.
And they've been on a decent streak this year, so hope Agatha will continue the trend. But I would say,
do we know anything about that?
Nothing definitively other than Agatha's in it.
And we know it's purple and black.
It, or they're trying not to, or they're waiting. All we know is that it comes out in September. What even is the date for September? I have that written down. September the 18th. We'll have that, and then we have September earlier on than that for the Penguin, which I'm going to be there for. I'm very hyped.
I'm there.
I'll show, and then you put
Penguin. I'm waiting
in there. I'm in. I believe you'll actually be back from Dragon Con too, so you might be able to make that one if you have the energy after doing.
Penguin is definitely the plan because, again, we get this stuff coming out from DC. Again, Penguin is the best thing on the docket right now, and then we have Joker 2.
You said the word musical, and I already tuned everything
first,
out, which isn't
Go
fair.
Ahead. Go ahead,
It's not ideal, but that's me.
I think. And I'm thinking you both will agree with me. This Joker 2, while I didn't particularly like the original Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker 2 falls into the category of giving us something that we didn't ask for. That's giving us something we didn't want. Nobody wants a Joker musical, not even Broadway. So why would you give us a Joker musical? We don't want this. We don't want to see singing from nobody in a Joker movie.
Part of me feels like Joaquin Phoenix was like, I want this to be a musical, or I'm not doing it because it needs to be
that's why
because I'm Joaquin Phoenix.
That's why you got Lady Gaga.
Like, we have nothing left. Here you go.
And again, bad decisions at Warner Brothers. Nobody wanted this. I can't imagine what they will be singing about. Slicing and dicing. Joker fish, toxic gas. What are we doing? I mean, what's the music gonna be? Are we doing Slipknot, Danzig? I mean, is it heavy metal theme? What are we doing? Because I'm not understanding the direction that you're going.
Because then I go for something musical, something artsy, something whimsical, and it's like, look, no one asked for this, no one wanted this, no one appreciates this. Who is the target demographic that said, you know what Joker needs to be? Singing.
Yeah, because we need him singing in the rain with an umbrella, like back in the day. No, please.
It's like if you're trying to make sure the character never comes back on screen again, this is it. This could hurt the image for a good long while. Yeah. Because Joaquin Phoenix, for me, he was fine as Joker, as Arthur Fleck, and that part and narration of things. I was fine with it. If you told me it wasn't a musical, I would probably go see it. The minute you said, let's get singing and dancing all up there, I don't care. This isn't like the early 90s, early 2000s Disney product. I'm not going to go see it unless I got kids, in which case, why would my kids want to go see Joker and Harley Quinn sing?
What are they going to talk about? Domestic violence? Because that's what their relationship is. And I tell people all the time, I want a Joker Harley relationship. I said, so you want a man to beat up on you? Because that's what he does. He's physically and verbally abusive to Harley Quinn. Why would you want that?
Damaging, to say the least.
Why would you want that? So I'm like, and now they're singing about it.
I don't want this movie.
Who
don't think
wants this
anybody wanted
movie?
this movie.
Nobody
I don't
wants this movie. Is this? Are we
exactly.
saying it's a flop now? It's going to be a flop.
I'm just
The
saying it should be
numbers will be
thrown in the
better than
trash.
expected, but again, because it's coming out in October, horror films will dominate that month, and
It
I
will.
think it'll definitely impact the box office enough for DC to be like, cool, we lost even more money, which they already said that they're selling off most of their gaming IPs because their stock portfolio is about half of what it was expected to be. And I don't know how you lose $5 billion, but hey,
Putting out bad movies.
I'm not that company. So it's like there is hope we could get new Batman or Superman or Justice League games from new companies taking on those tasks. But
We do need a
that's
good
another
Superman game.
conversation for another thing.
We need a good Superman game. We haven't had one.
It'll be hard to do, but it's definitely possible to do with today's day and age of technology because there are a lot of great games that are coming out, and there's a lot of not so great games on the docket. So we'll see how things go because I know it doesn't look like, other than maybe Black Myth Wukong, it doesn't look like there's much for gamers to be hyped about this year. Will, have you played anything that you've been super hyped about this year?
That supermarket shopper you playing is great.
Yeah, Supermarket Shopper looks fun. No, there's nothing else that I've really been hyped about. There's some more expansions for Genshin Impact and stuff. They just released their other games, Zenless Zone Zero, which I'm not too much of a fan of. And they have
Baldur's
another
Gate
game out
3
called
patch
Star Rails
7.
Rail. We got Baldur's Gate 3 stuff on the way, content and stuff for that. So I'm excited to see what happens with that. We have Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which is going to be hyped for a lot of people.
I've waited
Finally
so
bringing
long
back
for this.
the Dragon Ball series.
Bring back. Let's go.
Yeah, so this is definitely something that's going to be good, and we can definitely see at a lot of different tournaments coming on for fighting games. Because again, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and Smash have, always been high up there. So having Dragon Ball reintroduced into it is going to be fantastic to see. And I do think that we're waiting on a lot of other games to kind of hit. I know there's Assassin's Creed coming out with that, focusing on. I think it's like a dual switch between an assassin and a samurai. So that's interesting as it is, but there's some controversy behind that, of course, because of how historically accurate and a few other things are. But one of the biggest ones that's closest to dropping is actually going to be Star Wars Outlaws, which has had mixed reviews.
Trigger warning.
And with everything that has happened with the Star Wars universe as of late, again, we have a Mandalorian movie coming out, and we got an Acolyte show that has not been picked up for a season 2.
Can I ask a question about this? Because I'm not a big Star Wars guy. I actually think they suck.
Directed towards this guy.
It is. What was the major problem with the Acolyte, in your opinion?
You really want to dive down this hole? Because
let me go first. Let me go first. As a new from the buffer, as a new Star Wars kind of watching person, all right. And I'm not gonna get everything right. They messed up timeline with some characters being present that shouldn't have been present. They have had blatantly lied about certain stuff with characters from the older movies, like was it Yoda saying that he didn't know nothing about the Sith, but they specifically mentioned and showed Yoda being informed about everything that's going on. So that contradicted that whole thing. Actually, I know people had problems with the bleeding of the Kyber crystal. That was a few issues and stuff there. Also with how the twin girls were made, because they were like they were made apparently similar to the way Anakin was made. They're like a product of the Force, which he's the product of the Force. He's the chosen one. So them being, I guess, too similarly on that level is a problem with that. Again, I don't know the whole history behind that. And they gave us one of the best lightsaber fights that we've ever seen. It's one of the greatest ones shown in live action, and it just kind of went dry from there. So I'll let Brent kind of dive into the rest of it, but that's just what I got from it.
And
so Brent,
a lot of major points. So that's kind of the key thing here. It's like we had Kia D. Mundi, who was specifically in Star Wars, like the Phantom Menace. He says, we haven't seen the Sith in a millennia. Tony, how long is a millennia?
That's a long time.
It's 1,000 years. Just so we're clear. So having this timeline be 100 years prior to the Phantom Menace, and Sith showing up and brazenly calling himself a Sith, even though he's like, you can call me whatever you want to call me. You're Sith. Shut up, dude. More or less showing
Wait,
up,
what?
attacking Jedi, offing people blatantly in front of Jedi Masters and taking out apprentices alike, kind of throws all of that canon entirely out the window.
Yeah, that
Yoda's
all
feeling
confused me.
about it as
That
well,
made no
being the head of
sense.
the council. Big issue there, because he would obviously disseminate this information to everybody, because a good leader like Will would let people know, hey, this is what's going on, this is when it's going on, this is why it's going on. If suddenly some of us just started dropping off the face of the earth, and you have space zoom to where you can talk just about anywhere in the galaxy to anybody as long as you have a semi-decent connection, you should be able to disseminate that information about that fast. So the fact that Yoda also now is an accomplice in this, kind of damning. Then we have Darth Plagueis, who he had several apprentices, I know, but none of them would have been as stupid or as foolish as this acolyte was supposed to be. Go ahead.
I thought you could only have one apprentice.
You can have multiple apprentices because you're supposed to have an apprentice, but then that apprentice usually takes on another apprentice so they can overthrow their master.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
rule of two, but it's super complicated because more often than not, the apprentice is rarely powerful enough to kill their master. Like in The Phantom Menace, again, we're going to circle back to that film. When we see Palpatine slowly gaining power and he gets elected chancellor, his master is still alive in the other room. Plagueis is still alive, and he has Darth Maul fully as his apprentice. It's not even kind of, sort of, maybe. It's in your face. Plagueis was still alive during most of those scenes. Plagueis knew of Anakin's existence, and he literally, in his novel, saw how Anakin's life would play out, and was like, yo, this is the kid. This is the one. This is what we've been waiting for. He's going to bring that balance. And because Anakin was made by the Force, as a rejection to Plagueis trying to pervert it, he was basically, for all intents and purposes, and I know this is semi-religious, so I will apologize for this title, but I just only know how to summarize it this succinctly this way. Anakin is basically Space Jesus with crimes. That's the only way I know how to understand it. He is one of one. He didn't have a mom. He didn't have a dad. Boom, just showed up. Like, well, he had a mom, but like, did he? It's like, he was like, I had no man. None of this happened. Boom, kid shows up. I don't want to tell you. He's here. This happened. That is Anakin's role in this. He was supposed to be one of one. That was his whole thing. He was unique. By having these twins being born of the Force, who is all of a sudden not unique? Anakin. And we had 9 films, 9 of them. About 5 or 6 of them are good. About the entire Skywalker family. That was the whole saga. If you're telling me this guy didn't matter, but he got 9 films, what's your logic behind that? Who are you going to use to supplant him? Who's going to become more important than him? There's just a large vacant void in that logic there entirely. And genuinely, this show was, I don't want to say constructed to upset people, but the manner in which they handled their business was terrible. It was sloppy and it was poorly done. The writing was ineffective, inefficient, and these characters were wishy-washy to the extent a DC fan would even look at this and go, what in the world is this? Like, we understand we've gotten bad movies, but we've never gotten a horrid script like this. This is the worst writing I have ever seen in anything ever, and not even just counting Star Wars. Leslie Headland should never work in Hollywood ever again as a actual writer. That's how strongly I feel about The Acolyte. A lot of people did like it because it was inclusive. There was talks of gay relationships. We had people of color represented. But I offer you this question, and I'll offer it directly to you, Tony. When it comes to inclusion and diversity, you are all for it, correct?
Correct.
Would you want inclusion and diversity to be shown correctly, intelligently, and well fleshed out?
Yes.
The Acolyte wasn't that. It was the exact opposite. It didn't show the good sides of many aspects of these tough topics to talk about. And hey, I'm not an expert on these topics, but from what little of it I do understand, it was not shown on screen well. The writing really let it down, and a lot of these actors and actresses tried their darndest to make this script work. There just wasn't anything to make work. So the fact it's canceled, thank goodness. And a lot of people were saying cancerous YouTubers are the reason it ended. I saw plenty of memes from people saying, hey, if you don't like it, don't watch. People did that.
And that's the best thing
The
you
numbers
could do.
suffered, and the show's gone. That's it. Disney cares about the bottom line, and that's their money. If you hit them in the wallet, that's it.
That's why you need
They'll
competition.
pivot. Star Wars has no competition in space at this time.
Star
Dune
Trek
is the closest thing we have to it. Because Dune's got, Dune 2, a lot of people say is a great film. I still haven't seen it. A lot of people say it was good.
I saw it. It was exactly like the first one. So take that how you want. It was exactly like the first one.
I didn't finish the first one, but I was trying to watch it like late at night. So
no, you can't do that. You got to watch it when you wide awake and got energy because it does drag. But it's exactly like the first one. That's all I got to say about it because I watched it. But my OCD made me watch it.
No,
because I watched the first one.
So much of the stuff correctly. So I'm proud of you. You've done a great job learning about the Star Wars. And that means that I was at least able to articulate some of my points in a manner in which you were able to understand. The Acolyte had great ideas in their head as far as getting things on screen to be effective and to play out well. It fell very, very flat because Dathomirian witches, super cool. Dark apprentices who are actually out here offing Jedi, super cool. Having a love romance that isn't entirely in an abusive sense in Star Wars, fantastic to see because Star Wars, as far as love romance goes, is garbage. There hasn't been one romance where I'd be like, you know what, I want that. Not one, ever. And the Acolyte was attempting to go that route, just didn't conceptualize it. And they had a brand new time period where they had literally minimal. There's like 2 or 3 books that they could have covered in this area. They just didn't. They stepped on all the toes of the writing in this super niche area that could have just come out scot-free and not touched any of it, and people would have been happier for it. It's one thing to break lore, but as I've told you, Tony, if you can break it in an effective manner with a good change, people will wrap their heads around and be like, this makes sense. I'm okay with this. Acolyte did not do that.
So what I'm hearing is I shouldn't watch it.
No. Unless
you should watch the lightsaber fight.
Episode 5's lightsaber fight near the end, that's about it. Okay. And then you're like, wow, this show was hype. And then you're like, this is the only good thing that happened the whole series. It's moderately upsetting.
You could watch episodes, 1, 5 and the finale and just be like, okay, I get it.
No, you'd be upset about episode 1 because there was a fire on top of a spaceship in space. How do you get a fire in space where there's no oxygen?
That's not possible.
That was great. It's fantastic. We love it.
Well, I mean, you know what I call that? My kids gave me a term. It's called SpongeBob logic.
SpongeBob logic is amazing.
Think about it. They have fires underwater. How is that possible?
Restaurants underwater. They serve burgers.
That when you open the door, the water doesn't go in or out. It's just, and we already know, even if you got water in something, you open something, it's going to move around. But yeah, well, it's called SpongeBob logic. So that's what we will use.
It doesn't make it any better because SpongeBob was at least a watchable product with a better story.
Some of it.
And it's about a talking sponge as opposed to this terrible thing. It didn't go good, but I'm not going to go any further on that.
Acolyte has flowed. We got Outlaws on the horizon, which again,
Brent's going to play.
It's a good chance that we may be able to get Brent to play. I can't guarantee it, but we're going to try and get him to play and give his thoughts on it firsthand.
We weren't bribed. We weren't given any free copies. I just want to throw that out there. We weren't those people.
I am going to buy it for him and probably send it to him. Let's just be honest.
Just so I can suffer through this product.
Why don't you just buy it and then we bring Brent to Georgia?
That's intense.
We can do that. All right. What's the other Star Wars project? Skeleton Crew you mentioned?
That one looks hype. Tony, I'm going to try and pitch you an idea, and I just want to see how you bowed off of it. If I told you that, what is the movie called? Stand By Me, Stranger Things, and Star Wars had a love child, would you watch that product?
I mean, technically, Stranger Things and Stand By Me are the exact same premise.
Basically, I just wanted to really drive home that there were certain aspects of Stand By Me that Stranger Things just didn't.
So it's a group. It's a group of people going together.
A group of children going on a quest, and then finding more than
being terrorized. Are they being terrorized by things they can't explain?
In some aspects, there's a little bit of Goonies on there.
He's in.
You said,
look, he's in.
You said Goonies. I mean, the only thing I had to do was say, would you watch Goonies but with horror? Yes. Yes, yes, I would.
It's exactly what it's going to be, and then you're adding Jude Law as a Jedi on top of it.
If you could take Goonies and put them in Derry with Pennywise, I'm watching that all day long. I'm watching it.
I don't know what Derry has to do with it, but I ain't asking no questions.
That's where the movie.
Derry.
Pennywise. And Welcome to Derry is coming out. I'm watching it, and I need all y'all to watch it. I need all y'all to watch Welcome to Derry when it comes out. It's the
I don't watch horror movies.
It's the origination of Pennywise.
Also, I hate clowns, so I'm double.
Side note, there's a rumor that Pennywise and the lady with the umbrella are from the same species.
Okay.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins, y'all.
They said they're
Yondu and Pennywise are the same alien race. Got it. Definitely covering that in all of its entirety. But that's the premise of Skeleton Crew. Hilarious. It comes out
Star
on
Wars?
December 3rd. It's Star Wars. It's be out on December 3rd. It looks like, just go look at the trailer if you haven't already, everyone. It actually looks incredible, which is coming from me who had no idea.
There Jedis fighting star monsters?
There is a Jedi. We haven't seen him do anything other than basically use the Force to pull an object to himself. And the Jedi in question is one Jude Law. So
I'm about 80% interested at this point. I'm about 80%,
which is about 75 to 79% more interested than you normally are.
So pretty much because I hate Star Wars.
if you watch the pitch or the trailer for it, I think you'll be.
Send me a message so I won't forget, because I will forget.
That does happen, but like I pitched the idea to Will, and he was like, "You know what? That ain't that bad." So
but he's slowly becoming a Star Wars fan. I'm
not with the products they be putting out. He's slowly suffering.
No. I like characters and stuff like that.
So he's like me, because I like Boba Fett and Chewbacca.
You wouldn't like him if you saw Book of Boba Fett, which is also reportedly canceled.
I did see Book of Boba Fett and I hated it, but I like The Mandalorian.
I like Mando. I like Black K. Freaking like these are two.
That was the Chewbacca character, right?
Yeah, right.
Because I suck at names, so yes.
Yeah, so do I. So like that's where I'm at in Star Wars. Like I don't really.
You didn't even say you like Danny Trejo as someone who's like wrangling up Rancors.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
No.
You don't like Machete?
He's short. I didn't know he was as short as he was.
I said the same thing about Tony when I met him.
You never met me, fool. I've never been in your life.
That's an inside joke for those who don't understand, but we'll let Will pivot.
The other product that is coming out that I'm sure you are very much you want to talk about.
This is
Lord of the Rings.
Ooh, this is me too.
Ooh, because the Rings of Power, for those who don't know, we will be doing live streams on all of them. It will be
I'm going to try
on Thursday, and then the week after.
First of all,
we'll see how we go. It's starting at 9 p.m. Eastern time.
I don't care. I might be there.
It's going to be 3 episodes. You ain't last until midnight on a Thursday night when you got tailgate coming up. Don't you lie to me like that.
I don't care. I might, because I love this show.
Because I enjoyed Rings of Power, and I know, yes, I know the lore, the accuracy, the books. Look, if you can't understand the difference between an adaptation and a literal book that they don't have the full rights to, they were given basically like 2 or 3 pages to. I can't help you. You need to come
We
in with
don't
the
want to help
correct
you.
expectations. It's like people come in and say Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings are garbage. I don't know how you say that out loud or with intelligence, but that's where we draw the line. We have these conversations at Geek Variants. I don't have to agree with them, but there's still things that happen, and your opinion is still entirely valid. But at the end of the day, the Rings of Power, for all of its flaws, and believe me, there were flaws. The fact that Galadriel and Sauron were supposed to be a love relationship, that's a big problem for me. That was weird. That didn't play out well. It didn't pan out intelligently. But at the same time, there were other great things about the series as far as we had new diversity shown, we had new characters expanded upon, we had areas that weren't previously touched upon that were built upon well. The only other issue I had was we did the rings, the 3 rings of importance, too soon. The 3 rings should have been done after the 9. Like the 9 rings for the men and the rings for the dwarves. The 3 rings for the elves should have been done at the end because the elves were the last ones deceived, which was kind of the big issue. But again, I understand that now season 1 has been done. So at the certain point in time, we have to either accept that this is an adaptation and more or less a fanfic interpretation with the best of knowledge that they have and are allowed to touch upon. But again, the only thing I'll be mad about lore wise is if they drop the ball with Tom Bombadil. If they drop the ball with Bombadil, I will be that person that beats that lore drum absolutely to the umpteenth degree. He's supposed to be goofy. He's supposed to be zany. He's not supposed to be serious, but he's still supposed to be insanely powerful. He is Mr. Mexaplick, but he is entirely in the Lord of the Rings universe. He is that level of bizarre and zany. And people literally debated at the council with Elrond in Rivendell to, hey, what happens if we give Tom Bombadil the ring? We could probably have him go deliver the ring to Mordor and he'd be unaffected. It's entirely truthful. But also the reason they decided is like they didn't give him the ring is because Tom Bombadil may have lost the dang thing because he just wouldn't have cared about it because he wouldn't have been drawn by its power. He's that so much in his own world that outside of that, there's literally no reason for him to sit here and be like, you know what? I'm going to keep this thing because he's powerful enough and in his own world enough. It's going to be interesting. We had a lot of great acting done in season 1. There was still lore breaking, but I enjoyed it. Now I need to get off my soapbox. Tony, how do you feel about it? Because you said you liked it.
I mean, I'm not deep into the lore like you are. I'm more casual with it. I think I maybe read one book. So, but the movies in general are they're in my collection. And for those who don't know, if I add a movie to my collection, I like that movie and I tend to keep that movie. And I have all of them, which upsets me that Will hasn't seen it, but he's an entirely different animal in his own right. But
He'll
I
suffer through
will
Madam Web, but won't watch Lord of the Rings.
won't
Madam
watch
Web.
Lord of the Rings, which is annoying. But I will see the Rings of Power, since it is based in Lord of the Rings, got my attention just that way. Once I heard that, I was like, yeah, I'm watching it. I don't even care what it's about. I'm watching it. And I loved it. Everything about it. I don't, and since I don't know the lore on who's not supposed to be where and what, I think I enjoyed it more than Brent did. But
You
it's a
enjoyed it
must
more than
watch.
I did, yeah.
It's a must watch for me. That's why I'm
Like
like, I don't know why you're saying Thursday. I might not be around. I might just be tired at work. I might just drink 8 cups of coffee. I just don't know yet. It might happen.
because it's like it's a 3-episode premiere. Come in and have chats. We'll have the conversation. I'm sure there'll be tons of people telling me that they have made a lot of interesting changes, whether it be racial diversity or how the story is going or where they're at specifically. By all means, have the conversation with me. Just also know that I will also still have my opinion, and my opinion doesn't supersede yours, but I have the full choice to just be like, yep, cool, that's your opinion, or
Mine
that's
does.
exactly how the book was. But they also don't have the rights to some of the things you're trying to make them stringently follow. It's kind of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They were only able to do so much with what they had the rights to. And now that they don't have certain rights to certain things like Spider-Man, they're kind of in a bind here as what to do with that particular character. That's how the Rings of Power should be. They won't sell the full rights to the Silmarillion because the Tolkien estate doesn't want it touched in any way, shape, or form. I don't know why. Thanks. They made it harder for Amazon, but Amazon still said 5 seasons. So let's see how confidently they come
And
with it
pe-
because a lot of the return on investment
yeah.
right now is okay. It's not great, but it's okay.
And people they gotta realize and pay attention to the key phrase that you always see. And anytime anything says based on, it's not going to be exact.
There's gonna be
It's going
liberties
to be
taken.
it's going to be whatever they feel. They're going to take things from this and add things to it to make it their own, and that's what they're doing. And you just got to understand that. And again, what his Brent said to me: stop comparing stuff. Take it for what it is. So you have to take the Rings of Power for what it is. It's an offshoot of Lord of the Rings. That's all it is.
We literally flipped roles in this one because I know the lore. It irks me more.
It
As
does.
where like with comics, you know the lore, it irks you more. I'm casual, so I get to just come in and be like, come in with my brain off and go, yeah, they did a couple cool flips. There's a couple cameos. Someone made a fart joke and I laughed. Let's move on. Like that's where we're at with certain things. But because Rings of Power is what it is, I'm expecting there to be a very passionate part of the fan base that I'll be hearing from that my opinion was bought and paid for in some way, in which case, hey, Prime Video.
And for
Slide in
you,
my
and for
DMs,
you,
let's talk about it so I can actually agree with that statement because I have
and for
not
you
been.
passionate people out there that want to come in here and jump on Brent, unless you show me a picture of you dressing up as your favorite character and going out in public, I don't want to hear your opinion. Unless you
I think
show
you
me
set
that
the
you
bar
dressed
fairly
up as
low.
an elf, a troll, orc, something, and you went out in public. I'm not talking about Comic-Con. I'm talking about just went out in public as your favorite character. If you didn't LARP as your favorite character, I don't want to hear your opinion. Because I've
Their
went out
opinions
dressed as
are all
Batman.
welcome at Geek
I
Variants.
have. I went out dressed as Batman just randomly. My dream is to win the lottery, buy the Adam West Batmobile, and have a driver dressed as Batman when I'm wearing a Robin costume and drive me around. That's just what it is.
You have a beautiful dream.
Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me.
Will, it
He
looked
will
like
be
you were
pay-
trying to
he
take
will
us
pay
in a
he
different
will
direction.
pay me. He will pay me to drive that. Like I will do it.
I will.
But, oh,
Will
I'll
do
be your
look.
Batman any day of the week. I'll shave the beard even. We'll do it.
No,
All
you could
right.
be a variant.
Ooh,
Good
go
week.
ahead.
All right, so
Yeah.
there's another Lord of the Rings project. Was it the War of the Rohirrim? Am I saying that correctly?
You actually said it entirely correctly.
War of the Rohirrim and stuff like that. This is an animated movie that's coming out this holiday, I think, sometime.
Around
So
Christmas.
so what is this what does this cover? Where does this take place? Is this like part of the Lord of the Rings movies and stuff? Is it in there or is it something like before or after? Like what is this?
Significantly before. This is basically how we're establishing some of the lore that involves Rohan and the Rohirrim. And there is going to be a cameo of Saruman because he was definitely in cahoots with Rohan for a good long while. He was an ally and he was a significant and helpful member to everything going on. So he was definitely a member with some significance. But this is going to be the story of more or less Helm Hammerhand. My gosh, all the shenanigans involving that, and his daughter, who plays a significant role. She is a created character. She's new, but I think she looks like she's well fleshed out. She looks like she's going to be well adapted. We have tons of great cinematic shots. It looks like there's going to be plenty of action. I think they did a really, really good job as far as making this into what it is. It looks like a Hayao Miyazaki film. I butchered his first name. It looks like a Miyazaki-esque film, anime wise, and that's what you really ask for in scenarios like this. So I came in with low expectations for this because you said Lord of the Rings anime. I'm like, does the Lord of the Rings need an anime? Is this where we're going with this? Is this something that needs to happen? Do we need like an animated universe about everything going on? Will that work? Will that sell? And then saw the trailer. I'm like, I could be entirely wrong on this, but this looks like something I will definitely go into theaters and go and see War of the Rohirrim because it just looks like a good enough product to get me to go. Sure, it's an IP that I know and I love and I enjoy. By the end of the day, I think a lot of casual fans, you don't need a lot of lot of knowledge to go in and enjoy it. I don't know why I keep tripping up my own tongue. You think I know how to speak English by now, but apparently not so much.
I
You're still
don't know.
young.
Maybe you're trying to speak Elvish or something. I don't know.
I don't know how to speak
Ooh.
Elvish. I'm just gonna be upfront.
All right. So again, we'll see what Lord of the Rings has to offer, I guess, and how they come around. I may or may not watch these movies before
You
that
will.
comes out. Like
That's
I
my
don't know.
That's what I want for Christmas.
see.
I want you to watch the movies.
I don't care.
Your
what
kids
you want
asked
for
you to
Christmas.
watch the film. Are you going to disappoint your kids?
We're
Are you going
watching
to come out here
Star
on a
Wars
live
right
stream
now.
and say that you want to disappoint your kids for Christmas?
We are
Wait
watching Star Wars right
You know
now.
what? I know what
we,
I'm
are,
gonna do.
we just
Wait
watched
till-
the second movie of the original.
What's the second one?
Wait, the one. So hold on.
What's the name of the
Empire
movie?
Strikes Back.
No. What's the freak? All right, so 4,
He's gonna
5,
say
and
Attack
6.
of the Clones. Oh, 4,
We
5,
watched
and 6,
no.
not that
We
one.
watched episode 1
Phantom Menace.
and we watched episode 4.
So you
A
skipped
New
2
Hope.
and 3 for what reason?
Nope. Because I asked him. I said these movies are done in 2 different eras and so like that. So this is
Yes,
older
the first
stuff.
the first
newer
3 are now
stuff.
the second 3. So A
Yeah,
New Hope,
so-
Empire, and Jedi are the
my daughter,
third.
I gave her the choice of that. Like we can watch this set of 3 movies, or we can watch this set of 3 movies, and we can watch it basically in theatrical release order, or we can watch it in like the chronological order. So that she's like, "Can I watch one of each to see?" I was like, "We can." So we watched the first one, and we watched the second one, or the first one of the original trilogy.
That's A New Hope.
So yeah, so now freaking, I'm awaiting her decision.
And
As
yes,
to
I
which
know
one she
that
wants to
because I like
watch.
the first 3.
Yeah.
I hate the rest of
So see which one to watch. But she watched through both of them, no problem. She sat through them all. So that my youngest, my 5-year-old, he's kind of all over the place because he has a toy lightsaber, so he was running around,
He won't
jacking
be doing
everybody
that
up.
for Lord of the Rings.
So, oh no, he has actual swords and stuff too. So I feel like I'm gonna get a lot more hurt when he's running around with the actual,
Acceptable.
swords and shields and stuff. Because
Shenanigans are approved.
he's on one. As you can
I mean,
see,
that's the
I keep
point.
swords in my house. So. that'll be
Oh, we
great.
showing off swords?
No.
No, we're good, Tony. We're good.
Oh,
We're
you
good.
talking about toy swords? Got you.
No,
Yeah.
that's real, but no.
Oh, well, I got one too.
No. We're good,
No.
Tony. We're good, Tony.
Everyone
We're
behave
good.
yourself.
You behave.
Stop
So-
baiting him with that.
So as we got, I know there's a bunch of other movies and stuff coming out this year. Especially with Disney. So there is Moana 2, which is coming out, which
Doesn't
I
that look
wanna
like that
see
little
more.
girl would bite you?
Did we ask for
Doesn't she
that?
give
though?
out that
Possibly.
energy? Like Moana's little sister looked like she would bite you.
Possibly.
She gives that crazy
Possibly.
kid energy.
You mean
Stitch.
from like Lilo and Stitch?
Yeah, like
The girl
Stitch
Lilo and
energy.
There is
Stitch
a
Like, she
Lilo and
gives that.
Stitch live action happening.
I
So
still
Yeah,
don't know
nobody
how I
wanted
feel
that
about
either.
I'm
They just have
surprised.
to retain the rights for the IP. That's why they're doing this. Every
Are
10
they
years,
gonna
they got to
make-
do something like this.
Are they gonna make Stitch cuddly like he is in the
They
the
already
animated,
have
or
him
they
out.
gonna make him like Five Nights at Freddy?
He was announced
Kinda
at
both.
D23, and they actually showed him, so you can
How'd he
actually
look?
look up that. So
You
that
tell me.
he
you
looked
just-
like Stitch.
I need a
he
Five
look-
Nights at Freddy version of him.
He looked
The
like
unhinged
Stitch.
version.
Yes.
So
And by the way, I
Uh,
did like that horror movie. It was stupid, but I liked it.
which horror movie?
Five Nights at Freddy.
Oh, yeah.
A
It
lot
was
of people
nothing
actually
like-
really like that film.
It was nothing but like the game. My oldest plays it, and I've seen her play it, and I was like, okay, let me give this a shot. You know how you just hit play? I just hit play, and I was like, okay, I'm intrigued, and it was actually decent.
That's exactly what happened to me with Supermarket Simulator. It just looked intriguing. Other people had played
And
it.
it's
I'd seen
and
them
you
do
are
it.
people. If you have not seen this clown and these Supermarket Simulator, please go watch it because Brent is hilarious when he's talking to these people and making these stupid decisions. It is hilarious. It's beyond funny.
And we did talk about Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. We all agreed that Mads Mikkelsen, who was in talks for the contract, were
Much better.
a much better go. Robert Downey Jr. is a straight up cash grab. It is the wrong decision entirely, at least in our minds. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of different thoughts, but Mikkelsen is 100% a better actor and better villain than Robert Downey Jr. is. And by desecrating Iron Man's death, they're basically proving that nothing in the MCU is sacred. And if they can abuse something for money, like the way they're about to abuse Hugh Jackman for Wolverine money, they will.
And you
do
know
it.
what this shows? Marvel even thinks that Iron Man sucks.
There was a lob. I was waiting for you to go out and just say that.
I was
Iron
waiting
Man
for you to
sucks
stop
in
talking. I
general.
was waiting for you to stop talking. I was being polite this time.
Like, there wasn't a good decision HQ. Just there wasn't a good decision as far as Robert Downey Jr. is concerned. Sure, it's a big shock value. It's a big wham. It's something that they're going to be like, we have a specific storyline we want to do.
I think
We needed a whole new start with a brand new villain. And can you not tell me that Mads Mikkelsen would have hit just on a obscene amount of checkboxes as far as a villain concerned for Doom? Evil dictator with magic running his own Eastern European-esque country. Like Mads Mikkelsen, that's what you think of. Is there another cast out there probably for it? Sure. But that's the one we've really gravitated toward. And I think even Will, who's a diehard Robert Downey Jr. fan, would say if you could have had Mikkelsen over RDJ, I think you would have gone that route.
I mean,
it made sense.
Yeah,
It made sense. Like, I can't be mad at it.
It's like we talked about it about an hour or so ago into the stream. I just wanted to make sure that your questions and comments were read and touched upon. Like there was a lot of different things they could have done, but at the same time, we just had to flat out say, Disney, we can't agree with this. MCU, I don't know what you're doing. Feige, I know it's a cash grab, but like, come on, man. You don't have to make it this obvious. We understand what happened with Hugh Jackman and Wolverine, where the cash grab was just so good that there's no way you're going to hit jackpot twice. They're trying. And
I mean, I think but he was getting older. Unlike Wolverine, that really doesn't age like Hugh does. He's not gonna be able to play Wolverine for much longer, unless you start AIing him. It's not going to happen.
I mean, they can change up some stuff at any point in time because they keep recasting.
You already did
people.
Old Man Logan.
Yeah, I mean they keep recasting people in different roles. So people that have been cast in earlier Marvel projects are going to keep getting recast into newer Marvel projects. So them choosing RDJ is not a uncommon thing. They do this all the time. They did this with Minerva, so like that, and brought her in as one of the Eternals and so like that. They did. If they would have got Mads, they would have brought him in as Doom. He came from Doctor Strange. So it's just like, they're going to keep doing this, whatever they think is a safe bet.
They wasted him in that one. Is like if they reused Christian Bale, like that, we're not going to hold that against them either because Thor: Love and Thunder was hot garbage. Because
it was
wasted such a great actor to make Thor a joke.
And Gore in that movie was the movie, in my opinion. That he was the only reason
watchable.
He was the only reason I tuned into that movie. I wanted to see Gore on screen, and Bale did his job. But again, we all three of us have hashed this out. Thor being a comedic character is ridiculous. He is based on Viking mythology. He is a plunderer. He is not a stand-up comic, and that's what they turned him into. When he did that split, that full-blown Jean-Claude Van Damme split, y'all are laughing at this, but it agitated me.
We're not laughing at you. We're laughing at the comment.
It was ridiculous.
That we all agreed we hated earlier. It's the one person HQ in chat said.
First of all,
casted Nicolas Cage.
HQ, you will get booted from the chat if you start talking about how good Nicolas Cage is, because he is a trash actor. His voice acting is trash.
He is a national treasure.
You are a ridiculous man. You are a ridiculous man. I would knock your face off.
He would not literally do that. He's speaking metaphorically for all intents and purposes. But it
was a Nick Cage movie.
Cage would not have been it.
I can't think. Name a good movie that he had solo, that he didn't have anybody else, that it was just him that carried that movie. Name one.
National Treasure.
The Silence.
Have you seen Mandy? Pig,
Mandy,
Dream Scenario.
Pig. Oh,
I haven't seen any of these films.
And there's a reason nobody has seen any of these films.
But also, I don't watch like some Color Out of
Nicolas Cage is arguably the worst actor in Hollywood.
You're really just gonna die on this hill, aren't you?
I don't care. It's true.
He's gonna get buried on this hill. Like
He's gonna be happy on this hill too, like in the box. He'll just have like his like literal tome just be middle fingers, just be like, "Yep,
Pretty much.
that's how I feel about it." So I was like, that's how we feel about it.
I'm glad you say I'm wrong, but this is what I'm saying, and I know a lot of people that agree that Nick Cage is not a good actor. This is not. He's not. He's not.
Sidestepping the Nicolas Cage conversation, is there anything else pertaining to the world of geek? I don't know about that either. Can't agree there. Anything else that we necessarily needed to discuss? I know we were discussing War of the Rohirrim. It looks interesting, but at the same time, I don't know if it's going to be enough to get casual fans to go out and see that.
No, I don't think it's going to be enough. You gotta have a bigger draw for.
Are we saying casual, just like people like me who don't know the lore, or people who like that type of movie?
You like Lord of the Ring?
Even if I did,
movie wise,
let me tell you, I didn't. The only reason I watched Lord of the Rings is because one of my friends said, "Hey, you would like this because it falls in your wheelhouse of what you watch." I didn't watch it when it came out for like 2 years because I was like, "Yeah, whatever. I don't even know what this is."
Me either.
My friend made me watch it, and I sat down and I voluntarily watched it. That's the difference.
I don't have friends like that that'll make me.
I will come over I will come over your house right now. Play with me. I'll come over here, and I have all three. I will bring all three of them right now. Are you bringing the
extended editions, or are you bringing?
I have the extended director's cut 20th whatever anniversary thing. I got the big boy. I will bring them. I will bring them. Fool around. Play Z.
Care. I don't care. I don't care.
I will hold your eyelids open like they do in Bird Boxes.
That film is super overrated.
I will hold your eyes open and make you watch Elektra again.
That's fine.
Fox X-Men films.
All the X-Men films.
All of them. None of them were any good. The only thing about any of those was Nightcrawler poofing in and out in the fight. That was it.
That White House scene did hit.
And we're gonna skip that scene too.
That White House scene was the best scene in any of those movies. Any of them. Period.
Even though Ian McKellen was like also a perfect cast, and same with Patrick Stewart.
It was, but they couldn't save the movie. What happens to a frog when he gets struck by lightning? Same thing that happens to everything else. Come on now. Hallie, when you saw that, you should have said to yourself, I'm a better actress than this. This is stupid. Yes, she is a better actor than what she was in that.
Because like her and Jessica Alba are like the two biggest "Why Are You Here's" I think I've seen in a lot of films for a long time.
Now I'm not saying
like no.
Halle Berry is above Jessica Alba in many ways.
What is Halle Berry's best film?
Catwoman.
Monsters Ball. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all forgot about that one, though. Question.
No, I didn't.
That is a great movie. That whole movie is great. Catwoman is terrible, but Monsters Ball, it ain't what you think it is. That's a solid movie.
I still can't believe she came out and was like, I thought people would genuinely have liked Catwoman. What? It's like that's
that Catwoman wasn't even Catwoman. It was something else. It was a whole nother character.
It was its own niche universe that you just wanted to look away from the entire time that it exists. You're like, why is this here? Who thought this?
So y'all have both seen Catwoman?
Unfortunately.
Yes.
Then you both must go watch Elektra, because you cannot say that it's the worst movie ever without watching Elektra.
I own Elektra.
Send it to Brent. Brent, watch it.
I'll think about it. I have a lot going on.
We should do a reaction video with Brent watching Elektra and see how long he can last.
That'd be good.
See how long he can last.
I'm down. Oh, if I gotta watch Lord of the Rings,
you're watching a great film. You're watching.
You're watching
the greatest trilogies that
I have an idea.
For every Lord of the Rings movie I watch, he's got to watch.
No. Since Will's watching 3 Lord of the Rings movies, right? That's all you're watching for now?
We're not gonna make them watch the Hobbits.
Look, no,
we're not gonna go.
None of the Hobbits. None of the Hobbits.
The hour time is going to match up. So if I got to watch 17 hours of Lord of the Rings, you're going to watch 17 hours of some.
We're gonna start you with
crap I
the
want you to
baby
watch.
version. We're not gonna give you.
Yeah, we're gonna start you with the regular versions. So you just watch what 9 hours, 8 hours.
Oh no.
It's like it's 8
If
and a
I'm gonna
half.
watch it,
So
I'll
8
watch
for
the
all
whole
3,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna do it, I'll do the whole
So
thing.
for
but
the
you gonna get all
movies,
17 hours.
this shut up. So
I don't want to.
Will has to watch the Lord of the Rings movies, right? Will, you get to decide movies that Brent has to watch. Any genre, any movie. Brent, you give me movies.
You'll suffer through anything happily.
I will,
That's the problem.
but I'm just trying to get you to watch Elektra.
Because like, even if I made you watch the Fox X-Men films and react to them,
No, it has to be stuff that we have not watched.
you have watched basically everything under the sun.
No, that's not true. It's some things I haven't watched.
Maybe I'll make
But
you watch
Will has not watched the Lord of the Rings, so it's only fair that he gives you movies that you have not watched.
The only reason I even have these movies in my house is because my brother's DVD collection got merged.
And your brother is a gentleman and a scholar, and I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know how you're raised from the same family and had this reaction to these films. These films
There's
are
always one
classics.
that's in the family that you can't explain.
And Will is it. And
Yep,
I'm the one.
He's the one we've decided to work with.
So what does that say
I'm
about us,
absolutely-
though?
That we were raised right, and then we don't know what happened here. We did our best. Just sometimes the best wasn't enough.
Tony did not do his best.
He thought about it though.
I never do, because if you think about it, if you really do your best, is that the best that you can do? Isn't it something better than what you can do?
Always.
So you can never do your best. So what's the point?
loophole?
I point those out.
So it's like there's a lot of look. Lord of the Rings is one of the best films ever.
Yes,
It is
one
easily one of the best trilogies. Period.
It is easily top 3 trilogy.
If Godfather 3 finished stronger, I could make an argument, but Godfather 3 was garbage.
It was one of the worst.
One of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. But that's because they ran out of book halfway through 2, and 2 was just able to finish strongly on great acting. But that is what it is.
So wait, are we gonna now switch this to we have to watch trilogies? Would that be something we have to do? Since Will is actually technically watching the trilogy.
I don't know. I've never seen them in the Spider-Verse, so you can make me watch those.
But it's only 2 of those. And they're both fantastic.
Are they?
Yes. You just said you haven't seen him, so why would you even ask that question?
Because I have the loophole. If I haven't seen them, I could say they're garbage and just continue to.
No, you can't. You can't have any.
Will says
Lord of the Rings is garbage.
He's never watched them.
Lord of the Rings is so much garbage.
He does that because to troll you. That's the only reason.
It's crap. He just said I could say it. He just said I could by his logic.
I'm not really sure we're having like a two-sided conversation there in chat. Rush Hour trilogy is fantastic. Don't you dare. The Rush Hour trilogy was hilarious, but again, in today's day and age, you can't do that. Wow. That is.
I don't care.
We're going to get censored for that. That was just abuse.
This is what happens when you leave kids alone.
Well, why are you like this?
I don't know.
RoboCop. What? RoboCop. What are we going off about in chat? Teenage Mutant Ninja
RoboCop.
Turtles?
RoboCop 2 is.
I've stopped paying attention to chat because it's just ridiculous.
There's a lot of shenanigans in chat, and we always welcome shenanigans, but these are shenanigans on shenanigans. But again, we'll have to come to some kind of consensus conclusion on that. There's a lot of great content coming up. Will, did you find anything as far as anime that was coming out this year that you are interested in partaking or discussing?
There's a lot of anime coming out, and so that a lot of stuff that I haven't heard of. About. And anime is a lot going on. The only one that I know for sure that I'm going to watch is Blue Lock season 2, because I recently just started watching the first one, and I'm actually going to try and do a review video on the first one to get some kind of traction going for that, so that way I can watch the second season when it comes out, and maybe I can cover that live while kind of going through everything. I don't really got anything else offhand. We're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with Demon Slayer, because supposedly they're going to have some movies and stuff coming out for that. And while I do agree that classic anime is great for that. Not
It
all
couldn't
new
hold a
animation is
candle
bad.
to the new animation.
All right.
Couldn't even
So
touch
I've
it.
watched all the stuff. I remember
First of all,
watching
Ninja
most of
Ninja
the back
Scroll is one of the greatest of all time. So I don't
Ninja
know what you're
Scroll
talking
was
about.
fantastic. That
I
was
don't know
one of my
what you're
first
talking about.
ones.
That was the first anime I ever watched. And that movie, that whole thing was great.
The Ninja Scroll,
Period.
Wicked City, Ghost in the Shell, freaking the Gundam properties and stuff. Like, yeah.
That Eve
Freaking,
girl was it Eve Angelique, whatever her name is.
uh Evangelion, yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece,
Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, Bubblegum
Bleach.
Crisis. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that was just classic. But again, the new stuff, the new style of animation, like I'm when I'm looking at Demon Slayer's animation, I am in awe. Like, it looks so good. The very last episode, that animation was so good. When I saw when they did the what arc was that? The Entertainment District arc, seeing it, you know,
Yeah,
just in
that was great.
person was one. It was great. So I don't want to say the stories have declined. Some of the stories are still good. Again,
The stories are very
it's
well
hit or
fleshed
miss.
out and they're very nuanced. They have better art styles to go with it. They have more diverse voice acting ranges that we've experienced before, as where we had like the same 3 voice actors to cover everything that happened in the old ones. Now we have a well fleshed out audience, and it more appeals to the West than it ever has before.
Right.
Which
And that's the
anime
thing,
has
getting the
become a
West
worldwide
involved.
thing. Anime used to be something that you watched alone in the basement, like you were ashamed of it because you couldn't talk about it in public. And now anime is the #1 genre that is literally taking over everything and doing brand deals with stuff like Puma and Nike and Adidas and all these big name brands that if you told me 10 years ago that they would even be in conversation, I would say that's progress. Ghibli is goaded in a lot of regards, but
Ghibli is
again,
goaded. Yeah. The Akira slide still being done nowadays. Like, you can't. They put that
and
in
then
so
the
many
amount of
movies.
people at the Olympics doing hero anime poses, a lot of them were doing
Yeah.
Gojo's pose, a lot of people were doing Dragon Ball pose, One
Oh,
Piece
Perfect
poses.
Blue. You should watch Perfect Blue, Tony. Freaking, it's a psycho thriller. It's about freaking, stalking psychosis and like horror type stuff. Like, it's on that level. Think of American Psycho. Like, yeah, you might actually get a kick out of that one. Hey, it's been a while since I've seen that one though.
That
Yeah.
does sound interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff that has come out, and everything nerdy being trendy is not a bad thing. Everything nerdy becoming popular means people's tastes have changed, adapted, and people are more open than they've ever been mentally. Do you want people to reverse and revert? No. We want society to accept a wide variety of genres and see how they enjoy things. Tony enjoys some anime. He doesn't partake in most of it, but what we have suggested for him more often than not, you've come back and been like, you know what? I like this character. I like the story. Like I told you
Yeah,
about
but that
Jujutsu Kaisen, you're like,
I
I'm here with the
love
clapping
Jujutsu
guy. I'm
Kaisen.
good.
Oh my goodness, I love Jujutsu. I
Have
love
you seen
Demon
season 2?
Slayer.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Demon Slayer.
But
You
I
don't
do
remember
hate
season 2 because it was messed up.
I hate the Suicide Squad anime though. I hate that. I hate it.
That
I hate
I'm
it.
almost finished with
I
it
hate
because
it.
one of us has to finish it because we said we'd cover it. So I'm going through it as best I can. I'm currently
I'm
covering
glad
up
one of
the
y'all is because I
Hype
I
stopped
Man
the
think I'm on
still.
episode.
episode 4
I
or
stopped
something.
at 3. You know my rule: 3 episodes. If I'm not feeling it, I'm done.
Yeah,
And
you're done.
I can't. I just can't get past 3.
I can't get mad at you for that. I'm sorry. Like, I really can't. It's
And I wanted to like it so bad because Clayface is in it. You know, that's my dog. But it's like, eh, it didn't make sense to me, and I just didn't care. I stopped caring. I can't do it.
It doesn't get much more interesting until like episode 7. So it's like we're basically trying to fight through that. Like that's too many episodes to get into something that's actually had some kind of a change to it, but at the same time, like I give them props for at least giving this a try. But at the same time, just
Now it was one the Justice League. It was a Justice League anime. They went to another universe. It was a whole bunch of girls and they had like powers or stuff. I can't remember. It was on Netflix. I did enjoy that one.
like there's a lot of great content out there, and I know right now people are trying to watch the Umbrella Academy. Apparently, the latest season is kind of a bust. Tony, did you watch that?
I did watch it. I was hoping nobody would mention it because of how bad it turned out. The first season, outstanding. The second season, not better than the first, but decent. The third season, why did you make this? The fourth season, thank God it's over. I will say the only thing that I did like about season four, I think season four is better than season three, but I only think it's better than season three because of the change in powers. It made it more interesting. Like the girl who played Rumor, her power, she had to walk up and say, I heard a rumor, and then she could make you do stuff. In this one, it was like she turned into Professor X and could just make you do stuff by looking at you. It was great. I appreciated that. Give me some change. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect it to be successful. You have to change it up. And that's just Yeah,
It's
you
like,
gave me a solid season, a decent season, and then two more that just was there.
are you going to be avidly watching the next season of? Oh my gosh, his name just slipped my tongue. Stranger Things. Are you going to
Yes.
be?
Yes.
How are we feeling
Yes.
about that? Is that still going strong? I gave up after season one.
Yes. Well, I mean, you're not a horror guy. This isn't your genre. So I really didn't expect you to get into it. I was
I
shocked that you
tried.
did.
They
I
covered a
know,
lot of
and
nerdy stuff, so I was like, I wanted to give it a go, and I gave it a
but
full season. It was just slow,
the last
painstakingly slow.
season, the last season was great because I am an undercover metal guy. I do like guitars, and the scenes where they just went heavy metal on the top of the trailer to draw all the monsters is one of the greatest scenes I have seen in Stranger Things. I love it. I do love how the characters are developing. It's not like they're developing like teenagers should. You have the couple in there that they were dating for a while, then they kind of grew up and now they don't like each other because they broke up. And you have the one kid that got on the basketball team and he hit the game winning shot. So now he's an athlete, so he can't be around the nerdy Dungeon and Dragons kids anymore. So I like all the dynamics that they're putting in there. But then when push comes to shove, they still all come back together as a group. So I'm glad that it's going strong. I hope it ends on a strong note. That's the only thing that I want because while there have been weaker seasons than other, it's not like you got one here, one up here, one down here. It's more like, okay, you might have an 8.5, then you got a 9, then you might have a 7. And you know what I'm saying? They're
It's
all
still
in the
good
same
TV, but it's just
right.
Townsend.
It's not like, oh, this season blew me away. Hey, you know what? I like this season. It was good. You can't say that like with Umbrella Academy. You can't say that with all the seasons. It eventually kept getting worse and worse. Stranger Things, season 1 was great. Season 2 was okay. 3, it was good. It's still, all of them are still watchable. You can't go back to Umbrella Academy and say you're going to watch season 3. You cannot. But you can go back to Stranger Things and say, you know what? Rewatch season 2. I might have missed some stuff. And I love it. But see, I like that. Like I said earlier, I'm waiting for Welcome to Derry come out because I want the origin story of Pennywise. I want to see what happened. I want to see what happened when it first started.
It'll
I love
definitely be
stuff like
something
that.
interesting to see. And then I couldn't disagree more about season 4 of The Boys. Season 4 of The Boys for me was another successful hit. There were times where there was lulls in the season, of
We
course,
had this discussion. We had this discussion
but it
about
finished strong, and
it.
that's what matters.
It started extremely slow. It didn't do what The Boys was known for. And we had discussion. You liked it because it changed up and it was more toward what you liked. But I like The Boys because of the gratuitous violence and just shenanigans in every single scene. So when it's in season 4, when it started off so slow for 2 or 3 episodes, I'm like, this isn't what I'm used to. And so I had to change my mindset for, okay, now they're going into a storytelling mode, which is the Boys wasn't that at first. It was a complete parody of all heroes. And then once you realize, okay, now you're going into a storytelling mode, then slowly they came back into being what The Boys was known for with all the violence and the deaths. I appreciate what they did before. I think it could have been done better. I don't think you should have woven together 3 episodes of storytelling. You know what I'm saying? You could have had a setup episode, get into some solid violence, go back into some storytelling with some violence, have a balance. I don't think season 4 had that balance.
But the ending finished so strong, most people are going to forget about the
It
slow
did.
part.
It
So
and that's one of the things that we did. We knew we were going to watch The Boys because of what the product was. And
and
I
the
wanted
fact
to
that we're going to
see,
get Gen V season 2 coming up next year,
yes,
I'm excited. I'm
which
very excited for that.
I'm trying to figure out how they're going to do this, because with us watching The Boys, spoiler alert, some of the Gen V people showed up, and we had discussion that they're possibly going to join the 7. So where does that leave the people at Gen V? We know some of them are still locked up on the ground, the other characters. How is that going to work now? How are they going to get out? Is it going to be an inside person that help get them out because they can't get out? I'm still trying to figure out how this is going to work. And I do like that they weaving it together, since it is the same universe. You have to have the consistency. If they're there, then we know we can deal with you. It's not like, I hate to say it, DC and Marvel, Batman over here in Gotham getting beat up, by Mr. Freeze and Frozen. Why ain't Superman coming in? Hey, I see you need some help. You know what I'm saying? Why ain't that happening? Green Lantern just happened to be flying over. Hey, they don't have that. It's all self-centered stories in the universe. But in the Boys universe, it's starting to intertwine, and I like that better.
I think it's more of a better narrative overall. And I think that ultimately, if Gen V season 2 hits the way that most of us anticipate it hits, because we did lives for every episode of The Boys. Me and Will were there. Unfortunately, Tony couldn't make it because of how late they were dropping.
It was 3 o'clock
Amazon
in the
needs to
morning.
stop doing the 3 a.m. drops. But hey, is what it is. We were here for every episode of it. We covered it all. We discussed it all. Gen V, I anticipate much the same. And then obviously for the Boys finale season, we're going to be there all the same.
I figured out the enemy.
Okay.
It was Justice League and RWBY.
Oh, Ruby. Yeah.
Yes, that I enjoyed. I watched both seasons of that. I watched it. It was another one of those. Oh, Justice League. Wait a minute, it's anime. Wait a minute. Okay, I can't stop. Why am I still watching this? Who, season 2? Why am I'm enjoying this. I loved it.
Yeah, and there were narrative changes and there were story changes. Some panned out super well on screen. Some new characters were very beloved. Some were changed and people weren't like feeling the same way about some of the changes. Because I know Tony for a long while, like with everything of how season 3 ended, I know you were a little riled up, would be probably an understatement, but would sell things as best as we could to it. But then season 4 kicked off and you were right back in the throes of it like nothing happened. You just,
it was. I still had
it
wasn't like nothing happened. I still had my words. It was just, I'm giving you a chance, and I had hopes that you would bring back certain character. This would have been a perfect opportunity to bring back a certain character as what he should have been in the beginning. But no, you didn't do it. So I'm still mad about that. And leave me alone. Don't trigger me no more. I've been doing this the whole time.
We haven't been trying to. It's just happened organically, and just I'm sure the next time we have a live stream, I'm sure it'll be my turn on the hot seat just to get grilled. But I mean, it happens with all good products. We're just very happy overall with the way season 4 turned out. There were things that could have been better, but again, they hit on a lot of the major key points, and they set us up for a nice storytelling down the line, as opposed to stuff like, say, The Witcher, where it's like, we don't know what the heck
I
is
have
going
no
on
idea
in
what's
that
going
universe or how they're going to even attempt to fix it. It's just a dumpster fire, and you're staring at it and be like, is there anything even salvageable in here?
Do we think they should just end The Witcher?
They need to. Then doing another season is just further dragging out what the heck is going on in the worst possible manner. And then I believe there's a couple. I mean, we don't really have supervillains. We're not really superheroes. We're kind of super ambiguous. We're about as center line as it gets. I'll say certain things that are super villainous. Like sometimes I'm very diehard about lore, and other times I just couldn't care less. So it's like, if you want to be a supervillain, I mean, by all means, give it a try. But Geek Variants, there's a lot of variants to us, and there's a lot of different aspects to us. So saying we're anything as heroes is a bold statement.
I'm not a hero. I'm always a villain. Always.
Have been.
Always. It's more fun.
like the reason we had a sports channel for a while called Sports and Shenanigans. The reason the word shenanigans in was not because of me. I can just happily and logically point that out. He was the shenanigans. It was all covered. It was entirely, I mean, I don't know how much lore you can be when you've only arrived today. So it's like, that's probably as much give as I will allow there. It's like, there's not a lot of lore to me. I showed up one day. I've been here. Accidentally met Will. Accidentally met Tony through various networks, and now we're here. And we're all just Steelers. Nope, you're not part of my lore. Can't be about that action.
Yep, we're
My
gonna
team has been dominating yours for decades.
We are blowing your doors off week 1. Be ready. You scored 3 points with both your starting quarterbacks for an entire game against third and fourth string players. You get your doors blown off.
He's a Falcons fan. I'm a Patriots fan. I'll remember how many rings you guys had during our reign. Oh, wait, you had only the one.
And we don't have any, and I'm fine with that. I've accepted that we are just a trash franchise. I understand that. I don't care. It's just what it is.
I mean, my franchise is basically bad now, so there's that.
And see, Brent went alive to remember them Elvis Gerback years. So,
oh, Gerback, he is a fantastic game though.
Elvis have left the building. Them teams we was beating them teams, and we were bad.
And then Will is trying to still understand how sports works. He's trying his best.
The ball gets thrown down the field. Why is it called football? You only use your foot like one time to kick it.
You use it multiple
kick
times.
Or punt it, so technically too.
I mean,
you got to start the game. You start the game with your foot.
With a kick.
Yeah.
Until they remove kickoffs entirely and they just give you the ball at like the 40 and be like,
yeah, that's what they're doing. They already jacked up onside kicks, didn't they? You have to announce.
Yeah, we don't. And it's only done in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, see,
it's an interesting change.
But if they would have did that, the Saints wouldn't have a Super Bowl ring. Remember, Sean Payton started off with an onside kick.
With bold strategy, Cotton, it paid off for him. And he's one of those coaches, kind of like Mike Tomlin, who's criminally underrated every time the conversation comes up. Will Sean Payton have a good year with Bo Nix? I highly doubt it. But hey, it is what it is. I'll see the Chiefs playing the Niners in the Super Bowl again and prepare to be shocked.
At least I'm not. I'm not like the Cowboys guy and say we're going to the Super Bowl. Nope. I'd be happy to win the division and get a home playoff game. And I can go drink again outside.
I would be happy if we finish with a top 5 pick this year. But again,
you will. 100%. You're gonna win 3 games.
You got something to change the topic before we're here?
Look, I ain't in this. Y'all talking about that stuff. I don't know nothing about that stuff.
I mean, we had a whole podcast going about it for the longest, and it was really good conversations. It was just on the wrong channel.
Yeah, we'll bring it back eventually.
Once Geek Variants continues to grow, hitting the subscribe button, the like button, dislike button, whatever case may be, it helps the channel in any and all regards. And shockingly enough, when you look at analytics, the dislike button actually may help more than the like button. Just food for thought there. It's really weird how when you look through the analytics of things, that's just how it plays out. That's like
they should give a dislike button to everybody on the show. That way I can get the most dislikes. Because it'll be a race, and I'm going to win that race.
I'm sure.
I think people will just be upset with Will's middle of the road politics, where he's just like won't take a firm stance on a side or make a list. He doesn't like lists. I don't know why he makes a list.
He just writes things down in no particular order.
Oh no, I love lists. I love lists. I don't like doing lists y'all way.
What, 1 through 5?
Yeah, no, I like that.
You can't do the solid rankings because you'd have to then put Lord of the Rings at number 1, where it logically should be.
Lord of the Rings is down
still in the garbage can where you left it, which is a shame. Shame. Shame
it was the regular
shame on your cow. What's that? How's that Mulan line go?
Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow.
That's basically where we're at with things. But we have talked about a wide variety of geek topics. I don't know what else there really is to delve into. I know we were asked for our favorite Justice League character. I'm sure Batman is probably going to pop up as mine because I'm as basic as it gets.
Actually, with me, I am a Batman fan, but he's not my favorite Justice League member because technically he's a reserve member. Mine personally is Plastic Man.
Plastic Man.
He
Man,
cannot
he
be
got in
defeated.
trouble in all of the animated universes.
He can't be,
Like in
you
all
know,
the
he's
movies, like he trying
oh,
to
yeah.
become a chair so that Diana would sit on and be like,
He
"Yo, what
also
are
he
you
was he was
doing?"
her dress at one. He was Big Barter's dress at one time. That didn't work out for him.
He
His
was Big
son is
Barda.
just as
That's a bold
his
strategy.
son is just as bad, if not
That's where he
worse.
got it, honestly.
Yeah, just kind of got stuck in that wheelhouse there, and then I know Will's not going to say one because
He doesn't know. He's going to
just
say
say
Scarecrow.
Aquaman because we always call him Jason Momoa Light. Yeah, sit there and smile about it.
At least he cleared his beard up, or whatever you call it. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Iron Man sucks.
You're not sorry about anything.
I
Ever.
can't wait to see you guys upset in December because I'm beardless. That's going to be so crazy.
Why are you going to be beardless?
The wife has requested it, and I have decided to acquiesce for a little while.
Oh,
We'll see how long it lasts.
I know why. I'm not saying nothing because we would get cut off.
With that being said, that's the end of this.
All of the shenanigans have potentially ensued. But look, Robert Downey Jr., bad casting, The Acolyte. It deserved to get canned for its terrible lack of writing. Star
I'm
Wars
still gonna
Outlaws,
watch
I can't
it.
believe you're buying people to try and like your game. Just make a good game. It's not rocket science. Just make a good game. God of War didn't do this with nobody, and people love it.
Knights of the Old Republic remake. Where are you?
How could you even say that? But you don't even like
Yep,
Star
here he goes. You got him.
But I don't even like what?
Star Wars.
I watched my brother play the game, and now I want to play it because it's actually an RPG-ish.
So basically, you just had to be shown that you were wrong, as in you have to be shown that you're wrong about Lord of the Rings.
No, I like
and then
games
you'll
where
change
you
your
create a
opinion.
character.
I mean, you don't really create the character. You just create the universe based upon the reactions to your actions. The character looks like Revan regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I like that aspect of it because
It's not like Baldur's Gate 3 where you can make.
Did you ever finish Mass
anything?
Effect?
No.
All right,
I got
then.
bored.
Just
I got
stop
so
talking.
bored. It's like Mass Effect 3 does nothing for me, and you think a space RPG would just be it. Mass Effect just isn't. I don't understand the hype, folks. That'll get all the dislike buttons, but I just don't get it.
I don't game.
You do game. You play God of War.
You're waiting on the new Borderlands.
I am waiting on the new Borderlands though, and thank y'all for hooking me on the Borderlands because I got all of them.
Because Borderlands 4.
Did you go see your movie? Did you go see your movie?
Do we want to talk about how bad that movie was? Did I or did I not say that this movie was going to bomb?
Oh, you said it.
It didn't
you
even make
said
back
it.
its initial budget.
The what was it, like 115 million they spent? They made like 10.
Oh,
yeah, it
good.
is atrocious.
The
and we all know Jack Black is the only person that acted their butt off. Everyone else,
and that's it. That is the only casting that I agreed with. Jack Black as Claptrap was gold, but the minute you said Kevin Hart was Roland, that was
when
it
Terry
for me.
Crews is alive and well.
It ain't that you could use anybody that's 6'3" that looked menacing at all. Could have been Roland because Roland is not a comedic character. He is a leader, and everybody respected him. Everybody feared this man.
Who was the guy who played Luke Cage? He could have been a good Roland.
He could have been a good Roland. But you telling me if Kevin Hart walk up to you and be like, "You gonna be intimidated by that?" Come on, dude. No.
Like,
but yeah, that you don't even have
a tall
to.
Individual.
You don't even have to talk about Borderlands because I said it and I'm gonna keep saying it. That was a stupid decision. It was gonna bomb and it bombed. You didn't even see a trailer for it but once. And after that, you didn't see the trailer no more.
No. And then while we're talking about things within your wheelhouse, how do you feel about Aliens? Have you seen the
new one?
Because people seem happy with that. It finally dethroned Romulus? Deadpool and Wolverine.
It can. I haven't seen it, but I am the Aliens guy. I have all the Alien movies over there because I have to have the collection. Thank God they brought this out. It is probably top 3 for me with Aliens, Alien, and now Romulus is the third one. I can, yeah.
Was
It's
Prey in the same genre, or am I just completely off my
Prey is
rocker?
Predator,
Predator, got it. See, I was off my
but
rocker. Which
but no, that's still good because Prey revitalized the Predator franchise because they were kind of bad.
Mhm.
But Prey is arguably one of the best entries in the Predator universe. You got
I
to
just
go
can't wait till they
OG.
make a good Mortal Kombat. They need
Not
to
gonna
make a good
happen.
Mortal Kombat movie.
Not gonna happen. You
They have
can't.
so much good story and lore now. They could make this happen, conceivably.
I don't understand why people thought that the latest Mortal Kombat that they made was so good because it
was
wasn't.
okay. Mid-road.
If you
was
take
not.
no, it was not. If you take
Yeah.
out the Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight scene,
I don't remember anything else about that film.
that started that
Take
movie,
out.
the acting was atrocious. The casting was decent. There was no real good storyline. That movie was from the OG Mortal Kombat was better than this one. It was. Take out that Scorpion because the Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight, amazing. I'm talking about the first fight before he turned, while Hanzo was out there fighting and had the little rope and he made his own. It was perfectly done. I saw that scene and I was like, here we go. I finally get one. And now I'm like, who is this guy? What a tattoo does what? Okay, Jack. Okay, here go Jax. Hey, he lost his arms. What? Okay, all right. Kano, why is Kano in here with everybody else being nice? What is this? No. And Kung Lao? Really? There's no saving grace about this. And now you're talking about bringing me two? What's going to be in two? Oh, we get Johnny Cage in two. Is that supposed to be impressive? You took away his main rival because you got rid of Goro. You got to bring in Kitaro now for Johnny Cage to fight because they were the rivals. It was Goro and Johnny Cage. Those are rivals. So what are we doing here? This is when no. And see this again. This goes into the when we talked about if you make changes, make them make sense. None of these changes make sense. You got Mortal Kombat has too many games that you could have pulled from. You could have, and they did so many reboots that even if you pull from the original MK up until MK trilogy, or if you want to jump ahead of time, you could have pulled from any of those to make a movie out of. You didn't have to make that and whatever that was because that was not enjoyable.
He said whatever that was.
Tell me,
he said it with his whole chest.
It's like what little one I got because I'm old now. But nah, it was horrible. Even the second Sub-Zero and Scorpion fight was not good. Come on now. Come on.
This whole live stream turned into accidentally abusing Tony. But I mean, you finally agreed with HQ, so I mean, that's something. Like, there's some props there. I mean, I don't know if you're planning on doing it, but it happened.
Look, it happens every now and then. You get the Blood Red Moon out there, but no.
When's the next Godzilla movie coming out? When's that happening? Or isn't there like a new Godzilla TV show coming out? Like they're picking up season 2 or something? At this point, I'm just pulling on straws of whatever's left over.
Y'all saw Godzilla -1, right?
Yes.
What? I didn't like it. It was okay.
It was hyped up, and I was like, okay.
It didn't live up. It was one of those overhyped. I was just making sure it wasn't me because I didn't see the hype.
Big monsters are fighting, I'm in. So I'm a very low bar as far as things go.
But the whole movie didn't live up to what I expected. I expected so much more. The other Netflix Godzilla movies where he grows and takes over Earth, and then we find out that wasn't really Godzilla, that was Godzilla's son, and then Godzilla was like 700 feet tall, and he had destroyed the Earth, and people was like living in space trying to come down and figure out how to kill him. Oh, that was great. It was great. Of course, I don't remember the name because I don't do names.
You really don't. It is like the one thing you've been consistently about across all universes. You do not just like that. And part of my villain origin story, HQ, is I'm just going to keep calling you HQ. That's just how we do business here. So that way you can keep building up that rivalry. We're going to be there. But again, King Kong would not hold a candle to Godzilla. I don't know why people keep doing that because Godzilla can fight Superman. Superman would just grab King
Don't do
Kong
that.
and fling him into space.
Don't do that. Don't
It's
do that.
over.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't care what that stupid comic book said. Don't do that. Don't do it. There is not one person that convinced me that Superman flying at super speed doesn't puncture Godzilla like a bullet. You're gonna tell me Hyperion? Oh, you're not even that. Injustice Superman can fly through somebody's head, or Apollo can fly through somebody's head, but Superman can't fly through a lizard, bruh. I'm not even listening to that. That's garbage. That's garbage.
It's a lizard with atomic breath.
It doesn't matter. He's still flesh. He don't. Come on now. No.
Technically scaled, but again,
Godzilla hit him. King Kong hit Godzilla and put him down. You telling me Superman
Briefly.
can't? He's how much stronger is Superman than King Kong? Come on, I'm not listening to that. I'm not listening to that. Super
King
speed,
Kong an axe, and then Godzilla still won.
super speed that Godzilla does not have. You're gonna tell me he can't fly behind him, grab him by the tail, and throw him into the sun? That's like the Batman fanboys that I know. I love y'all to death, but Batman is not beating Superman in a one-on-one fight. Stop the nonsense. It's not happening. No, you're not gonna tell me that Superman gonna fly past him, past that atomic breath, grab him by his tail, and yeet him off into space. Not believing it. Not. This man moves planets, and you telling me Godzilla is planet heavy? Really? I don't think you can find any lore that says Godzilla weighs as much as a planet. I think you can't find me one. Not happening.
It would be interesting to say he is heavy as a planet, considering he's on one. Is like the weight of the Earth just Godzilla, or
Right,
would his
so-
weight have to like crush the
So
Earth?
you telling me a man that also can hold and move a black hole cannot pick up a lizard?
He's a
That
cool
comment
lizard.
was
He's shiny.
that comment was so stupid. Oh, that made no sense. None. Not one bit did it make any sense.
Will, I did it again. Another point.
Hey man, I'm just watching. Just here for the party.
Here for the
You know I'm
shenanigans.
right. You know I'm right.
I know you're right. I had to have this conversation just for the sake of having this conversation. It's like
That's fine.
sometimes superhero universes do this thing where they have that lovely mashup, like where they'll put like Invincible versus Superman. It's like Superman would box him out of this century.
Superman would beat their
funny.
entire planet. He would beat their entire planet. Kryptonians versus Viltrumites. Viltrumites don't stand a chance. Y'all better go
And
fight
then-
with the Mon-El folks because you're not messing with Kryptonites. The Daxamites. Go fight them.
Welcome back in, Brandon. What's up? You here for all the shenanigans? It's like we
Yeah.
have basically broken down everything going on with RDJ. We've talked about Star Wars Outlaws. We talked about the amazing Dragon Con that we'll be at on Thursday, as I will be doing Rings of Power live stream there. So got a lot of good stuff going on, a lot of great conversation. We talk about Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Marvel, DC, all that good
We
stuff.
talk
have
about
a wide
anything
variety.
that you ask us. How about that?
Anything that doesn't cover any sensitive topics pertaining to today's world, comic wise and geek wise.
Geek wise, yeah. Anything geek wise, we will talk about.
Whether we know what I'm talking about, rarely, unless it's Star Wars, or Lord of the Rings, in which case,
If it's Star Wars,
Right.
Lord of the Rings, do not question Brent. He is the almighty emperor in that category. We don't
people
question.
know so much more than me. I just
We
have to
don't
go out
question
there
it.
and say that.
Do not
There are
question
so
Brent
many
on Star
people that know
Wars.
so much more. But
Yeah, we cover all three. So mainly
we talk
you
about
and
all
Marvel.
things geek. We like having conversations with folks in chat. We like having these dialogues. We like being able to debate people on certain points. We're not saying anyone's more right than the other. We just like debating certain opinions. Tony will always say he's always right, regardless if he is or isn't. So just
But then
take
I will
that
admit
into
I'm
your-
wrong. I will admit when I'm wrong later. Not in that
Later.
moment.
It never happens in the same episode. Never.
Hey, guess what? I'm agreeing with HQ again. King Kong would beat Godzilla in a fight.
Stop
He said
it.
King Kong would beat Godzilla in a fight.
King Kong would beat Godzilla in a fight.
Duly noted.
Noted,
King
but
Kong,
ignored.
King Kong has all of the superior attributes to beat a stationary lizard with atomic breath.
You
He's
just have to
smarter.
take
He's
one
more
atomic breath
agile.
in
He's
each chest and it's
stronger.
over.
Just choke his ass out. Choke him out.
You got to get close to make that happen.
He can flip and hit around. Come on now. Stop it. Stop the nonsense. Stop the nonsense.
I will never stop the nonsense because that's what he at Geek Variants always do. And remember, everybody, the last of the 1,000 subscriber giveaway is today. Will announce the winners when he decides to, which you said what, like a week or so? Because you have to
Yeah,
finish.
it's like a week or so after everything is tallied up and stuff. But yeah.
All you have to be is a subscriber to the channel over the
I'm a
age of
subscriber.
18 in the United States. We're not eligible. We're not eligible. That's not how
I
this works
quit.
here. Yeah. And yes,
yeah, it's only effective to come tomorrow. So
yeah. And then again, the thoughts on James Spader returning. About dang time. That is a fantastic move for Spader if they do Ultron correctly. We still have mixed feelings about Ultron. Well, not Ultron, on Vision, if I'm reading the room correctly. But again, as far as the what do I want to say here?
I liked him.
Go ahead, Tony. You think you know where I'm going with this.
I liked him as the portrayal of what Vision is. I didn't like how he was handled per se. I think that, and Will's the Marvel head, but Vision is arguably one of the top Avengers. He's one of the strongest, most powerful Avengers, and I don't think that was effectively shown in the movies. Yeah, he picked up Thor's hammer. Cap picks up Thor's hammer. I mean, I didn't think we got to saw his full repertoire of powers. I don't think that him getting stabbed by Corvus Glaive's death spear should have affected him like that.
no, his regeneration should still kicked in. So.
And also, with him being an artificial life form, he shouldn't have the pain receptors that normal people have. He's still, people forget, an android, right? So him feeling pain like that, he should have shook off some of them hits, like whatever. He's not like Hulk that actually feels the hits that you give him. Like when they was bodying Ultron around, them robots weren't feeling nothing. They was getting right back up like, you didn't see. So I didn't like how he was portrayed in that regard. I think he did a good job voicing him. I like the look, but the character in general, and I do understand it's the MCU. They had to tone him down. They couldn't put him out there, just like they toned down Hulk, just like they made Thor a goofy comedian. I understand that. But with some of these characters, you really need to show their full potential, and then you could have possibly pulled them back something in the movie. Like he didn't get his full potential until he got the stone out, but then the stone gets removed, he goes back to being base level. You know what I'm saying? You could have did it a different way to make him feel more of a threat in the movie than he really was. Because when I watched the movie, the biggest threat to me still was Hulk with the Avengers. It wasn't Vision. And I don't think they did him right like that.
It's like Wanda could have been a huge player as well, but again, how much were they going to let her just wreck shop? Because we've seen storylines where she can just wreck house. Hulk has got his own stories where he just wrecks shop. Thor in certain universes and certain power-ups, he's able to take on people like Galactus toe-to-toe and have these conversations and actual fights and walk away from these things. But
I don't know.
in the MCU, we're never going to go those regards.
Ain't nobody going face-to-face with Galactus too much. I don't know about that. Ain't nobody going face-to-face with Galactus.
It happens in rare occasions when heroes get insane power-ups, or you're Doctor Doom and you have the perfect checkmate for that kind of scenario.
God and Doom could go head-to-head with Galactus.
But didn't Doom also have Galactus as his Silver Surfer for a while?
You mean his Herald?
Yes, that's the correct terminology.
No, I don't. No, but what's
Herald? No,
nah, he did get killed before, but I also believe that Galactus was one of those fixed points in the universe that you need a Galactus, right? It has to be a Galactus somewhere. Or maybe I'm thinking about somebody else.
I mean, it would make sense just for the danger effect because he's out here eating worlds. It would just make sense that someone needs to clean up certain things going on in the universe and then become a threat because he's gone too far. So, but I don't know enough about comics to really throw a strong hat in the ring, be like citing specific sources for any of that.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how they're going to utilize it all together as far as Ultron and Vision.
I don't know how they're gonna do it. And this is
Because
for
you got to
Secret
remember,
Wars, right?
I mean, Vision. You got to remember, Vision didn't have all his memories and stuff. He's got fragments and stuff.
Right.
But for him to be restored, so to speak, so that's going to be a process, and maybe that's the thing that also can save Wanda. So at some point, because she snapped. We know she's not. She's not gone. She's just buried at the moment, or whatever the case would be. But she's going to resurface at some point, especially
Of
with
course.
Agatha stuff still going. So I wouldn't be surprised we see her, break out of the mountain and stuff like that. But Wonder Man is supposed to come into play at some point. Wonder
How do
Man
we
was
feel
originally
about Wonder
used.
Man?
I mean, he was originally used as the basis for Vision's personality.
Right.
So again, you have Wonder Man come in, and you can kind of have something like that happen because Wonder Man, remember, he didn't like it. Like it was already taken from him when he wasn't paying attention.
Right.
So, and he refused to do it again because he fell in love with Wanda, and that was the whole thing. He wanted to have Wanda, and he didn't want Vision to get his memories back so that him and Wanda could be together. So that was a whole big thing. So would we have something like that kind of happen? Stuff in the process. We know Ultron has, memory of so many things. Are they going to bring Ultron back with some of his memory? He was locked out, but does he still retain that information?
I think,
So could
yeah,
Ultron be used to restore Vision's memory
It
to a
would need to be
degree?
an upgraded version of Ultron to where he can really
what
show that he was the AI that we all fear AI will become in this
and
reality. Where it's like
and
the
that's
end
what
all be all.
I think, if I remember correctly about Ultron, every time he is technically, quote unquote defeated, when he comes back, it's an upgraded version of
It's
him.
an upgraded version.
So he's been defeated. So when we get the new one, he should be what, Ultron 2.0? Are we counting on that now?
Prime, kind of like the What If Ultron, where he was the
I don't know.
problem.
I don't think we can handle the What If Ultron because that dude, he was knocking out Watchers. So it's like, we don't want that one. They don't have nobody over here can handle him right now. You don't have a Molecule Man running around. You don't have a Franklin Richards running around. You don't want them problems from him.
Yeah, you really don't want them problems because that would be all types of shenanigans. Nah, we're
Nah,
far past shenanigans at that point.
And again, this falls into when we said certain characters cannot be brought into the DCU or the MCU because
Squirrel
their power level is too high. So
It
you
would
can't
break the universe.
you can't bring in a Beyonder. You can't bring in True Form Darkseid. You can't bring in Molecule Man. You can't bring in really an evolved Franklin Richards. You know what I'm saying? You can't bring in those type of people because the scaling that they did in the MCU is so low that if you brought in them, you would have to scale all your heroes higher, especially with this B team that you got coming in now. You don't have heavy hitters. You don't have your Thor and your Hulks on this team anymore. You need heavy hitters, and you don't have that. So I think that's going to be a problem going forward, which is another reason why I'm glad that they stopped the Kang storyline, because none of these Avengers can handle none of these Kangs.
And that way
You would
you're
have
supposed
needed
to handle Doom. Like, good luck.
right. Well, that's the thing. If you bring in Doom again, Doom needs to be multiple movies. He should peek his head in, let you know that hey, this is going on, and then get out. So that way, when you get your Fantastic Four movie, they're going to be a Doom guy. That should be your last movie in the series. You get your Secret Wars movie. Doom is going to be a part of that. So you can build up the heroes here. Then get you a new Avengers squad from the heroes here, because now you have all these different variants that are in. Just like in Secret Wars, you're gonna have your different cities, you're gonna have your different heroes running around with your villains, and now you can pick and choose and you can build a better squad. Because I'm sorry, the Falcon as Captain America is a good character, but he is not going to lead the Avengers against a Kang or a Doom. He's not. It's not enough. You're gonna have to have
having questions with him dealing with Red Hulk.
Right. And if you got a problem with Red Hulk, then how you gonna handle top tier, MC villains, which I don't understand. But again, from their past, you got hope from what they did in the past, what Marvel has done in the past. But again, my belief in them is starting to get very, very shaky. But I'm willing to give them.
They can do bangers because X-Men 97. We saw that they did What If. We saw Loki. We saw Deadpool and Wolverine. All bangers.
But every banger that they put out, you got 2 or 3 that's not good. You
Echo.
do. Oh my god.
Echo was
Oh my god.
heinously bad.
Echo was very, very. And Falcon and Winter Soldier was okay.
I just loved it for the fact that we had the other version of what Captain America could have been, where
Right.
he thought he
And
was above everything. Like I was interested in that storyline to the umpteenth
but
degree, and
again,
the
even
level
in
of not caring that Zemo had was epic.
that was beautiful. But even then, if you take out the cameos in there, it kind of falls down a notch or two. You know what I'm saying? And you know I'm big on cameos. Y'all love cameos. I hate cameos.
I enjoyed
I
cameos, especially when the cameos were the Dora Milaje, making their presence felt in a big way, in an impactful, intelligent way in
yeah.
that show.
But if the cameo is one of the reasons that becomes a good show, then you have a problem with the storyline. I think your storylines and your main characters should carry more than cameos. But
And then
that's
as
just
far as
me.
cast confirmed, like Kang wasn't a bad villain in season 1 of Loki or Ant-Man 3 for Phase 4, but I wish he was connected in Secret Invasion or Moon Knight. I'm like, Moon Knight seems to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Will, when I think of Moon Knight, I think of it as a entirely separate from everything else thing that happens, even though it is supposedly going to be connected and everything, because we haven't heard anything, or at least I haven't, pertaining to a season 2 or when we're going to see him next. And he's got a lot of storylines that could work.
Currently, right now, he is standalone, as far as I know. Standalone, not doing anything else with anybody involved. I could see Moon Knight joining up with different people. Again, we saw Werewolf by Night, which is great. So, again, that kind of sets up for other characters. You can do Midnight Suns, you can do a bunch of other things and stuff within that. Those are
Blade.
possibilities as far as team ups. Moon Knight can go to the Avengers at some point if he wanted to, but again, with his personality switching, so with that, and the way that the MCU Avengers are, that would probably be deemed more of a liability than it would be, a help. So, plus Moon Knight would probably go in there and body a couple people right now with the way the Avengers are. Like it's not anything worthwhile at this point in time. But no, just the way they've been doing stuff with some of the TV shows, and while the TV shows have not been good, so with that, I do like it as a way of introducing characters to set up for some of the bigger movies and stuff. So it's like if they did it right, they could do it. Like I did not care for the Miss Marvel TV show, but
No one.
her character in the Marvels movie, while the Marvels movie was not the best, her character in the Marvels movie was fantastic. Her character was on point for what her character should be. So I was happy with that. But again, with
Was
with
it
them just
though?
throwing a bunch of her character, like her acting as far as her treating the character, yes. Fangirling, doing all the stuff like she's doing what she's supposed to do. Now she's setting up to lead the young
Young
Avengers.
Avengers.
And we see all that stuff going on. She, with her bringing the team together and sort of that, I don't think she's the type for that. She should not necessarily be leading the Young Avengers right now or setting that up. So I don't know what the heck is going on with that, and why Nick Fury gave her an iPad with all the profiles to go hunt people down and start bringing them to the team.
Because they got rid of Kang, so Iron Lad is not available anymore.
Like
That would
they
have
had
been
to make a
perfect.
weird switch
I mean,
up, and
Iron
then
Lad could technically still be available. Freaking, they just may have to change up the story how it's
He
done
could be Anthony Stark now, and that way,
because the kid is still there. You can use the kid, Harley.
yeah.
You could use Harley and have
See,
Harley run as Iron Lad without.
I, I hear what you're saying about Miss Marvel. I didn't like the show at all.
I didn't like the show. The
we
show
didn't
was
like the
I
show. It was universally disliked.
Yeah, the biggest thing with me is again, they changed up her powers, which I absolutely hated.
the
I think
hard light. I'm a mutant
they
now.
should have they should have kept her as an Inhuman based character. Then you could have redone the Inhumans and brought them in. Then you could have. I mean, it was so much they could have done with Miss Marvel. I liked her acting as a character as Miss Marvel. I loved it.
It didn't
She
bother me
would
one bit.
she made me believe she was Kamala Khan. But all that other stuff in there, bracelets. Now she doesn't have any natural power. I didn't like it. It was too much of a change. If you'd have said, "Oh, she, have a like literally, you're walking through a mist that just comes out the sewer, boom, now I got light-based powers," I could have accepted that, but not that your great grandmother had these bracelets and you got to go find the other one. And I
It
mean, I
felt very
watched it.
Shang-Chi-esque, which no one ever talks about as what even he's doing with anything or if he's even involved. And it's like, as far as power scaling, he could be one of the stronger individuals we have, which is crazy bad to say. Because, like, sure, we still have Hulk, but he's smart Hulk. We still have Thor, but he's kind of an idiot. And
Kind
we
of.
still have Wanda, but she's under a mountain. So it's like, there's a lot of asterisks next to our heavy hitters. And if you're going to tell me we have Doom hitting on all cylinders, um, who's really going to be the one stepping up? We've had a lot of series where a lot of characters had huge glow up moments, like Loki, where he literally ascended
But he's not
in
available.
season 2, and he's
He's
stuck
god
on a
of
seat.
he's god of stories now. So
Like,
what
unless
is he
does
gonna
like a
do?
full rewrite where he's like, nope, I'm going to completely remove Doom from everything, then we're just kind of stuck. And I don't think they ever anticipated going past Endgame, and they should have ended there. But the cash grab was just there, and they just tried to run with it past where they should have. But
I mean,
again, that's a personal opinion. It's not a fact
yeah.
on my part.
I'm trying to think of what they could have done. Because in my opinion, I think Endgame honestly was decent, but it felt still rushed. I think you could have did more if you wanted to have that magnitude of a story. Endgame and could have been, Endgame and Infinity could have been 3 movies. It could have been.
Could have been.
I think they
Especially
tried to push
their
it.
IP. Could have been.
Right. You think about it. You could have had them getting beat down in the second one, and then next thing you know, you're getting your properties back to the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. And guess what? Now you can go back to the OG storyline where, oh, they're coming in. Oh, who are these people coming in to help turn the tide against Thanos? That'd have been perfect.
And it's like, as Brandon said in chat, could the X-Men from Foxverse possibly meet the New Avengers? They could be. They could bring in a couple characters who nailed their roles. Because I think, as bad as some of the Fox universe was, there were still a couple good casts where you're like, certain individuals 100%. Can be, copied and pasted on over. And I think even with some of the stuff like Fassbender as Magneto is not bad. I mean, we're not going to get Ian McKellen for much longer because he's in his 90s. He's not going to be able to do much of the Lord of the Rings stuff that I want him to do just because he's that old. He's at that point where he just moves the wrong way. That's it. He's done. And I don't want to see a character past their prime trying to push on through. I'd rather embrace at least some youth and some change. Be like, I appreciate everything you did for the character. You gave him a chance to speak up. You make him have that presence and aura we wanted from the comics. But now it's time for a younger batch to kind of move on through. I'm not saying we have to keep Fassbender. I'm not sold on him. But I think he was one of the better things from the newer ones. And I think that even the newer Charles was okay to some extent. I had flaws with him, but that's, just probably due to the writing and the scripting. If you get
I think it's writing because he's got great acting talent.
Yeah, his acting is,
So
watch Split and you'll see his acting chops if you watch Split.
Because I know he plays psychos to a insanely good degree. So it's like being able to get him as Charles could be interesting. I think there are characters we can adapt. I'm just not sold on who or what from Fox we could really bring in. Because Deadpool's cool and fun and all.
Nightcrawler.
He's not going to change the scale of things.
It's only one.
Nightcrawler's not going to change the scale of things on either as far as power scaling goes.
Beast and Wolverine already here.
Right? Mystique, maybe.
Right. So I'm still not sold on why we're bringing
the original Mystique, Rebecca Romijn.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler, yeah, for sure.
Channing Tatum as Gambit.
No, stop.
I'm starting that campaign for it.
Please don't.
I will continue to.
No,
we need a new Cyclops. We need a new.
And he got to be BA. He got to be. Come on now, give me. You gave me a great Cyclops in the new X-Men. Give me a great live action. I need Age of Apocalypse type Cyclops or somebody. I need somebody who's no nonsense. And I don't know, Brent.
Why are you looking at me? I didn't even ask the question.
Break your Cyclops out. Get in
But
there.
since you know Mads ain't gonna be Doom, put Mads
hate
in
it.
Cyclops. He could put it off. He could pull it off. He could pull it off. I just need him. I need him in the Marvel universe somewhere.
Now, I definitely want to cast a. They don't got to be like super young, but definitely I want them to be able to play the role for a while. If they're going to come in, so at that I want them to be able to play the role for a while and let us really get, our mileage out of the X-Men.
And can we get the OG X-Men, please? So we can start them young like you want. Give us the OG X-Men. Give us Jean Grey. Give us Cyclops. Give us Beast. The OG Beast with no fur, with the big feet and big hands. I want that. Give us Angel. Give us Iceman. That's all we need. Start us off with them. We don't need Wolverine. We have enough of him right now.
Wolverine can continue on with Deadpool like they're doing.
That's what I'm saying.
That'd be fine.
Turn Wolverine into the Joker where he got to be in all the X-Men movies. He don't need to be. Give us the OG. That way you can cast all these young people and then let the team. It don't have to be everything in one movie. Make it a 6 movie.
Nope.
But we got freaking. So right now, according to everything, we know that the OG, so the universe that Deadpool and Wolverine are in, is apparently the same one that Monica got transported into at the end of the Marvels movie. So right now we're
something to play with.
So we're working with 2 timelines here with 616 and 10005. So eventually, Wolverine and Beast freaking, are going to probably meet up at some point. And then that's probably where they're going to continue to X-Men from there. I doubt they're going to be within the 616. They're going to be within that 10005, and they're going to be doing whatever they're doing from there. Michael Fassbender's Magneto would be cool if he's in Secret Wars. Yeah. I wonder what his reaction would be to meeting his daughter, Scarlet Witch.
It'd be hilarious for him to be like, "Hey, what happened to Quicksilver?"
They don't retcon their relationship so much. I don't even know what's what anymore, to be honest. I got to go back and look at everything because again, it was, they were, brother and sister, and they were the children of Magneto. Then it was retcon that they weren't the children of Magneto, but they were, taken in and stuff by him at some point, then put back or whatever. Like, I have no idea what the actual relationship is in the comics because it was retconned from when Scarlet Witch was first appearing in the MCU. This is back then when they retconned it, but apparently they changed it again, and now I don't know what's what. So
that is one of the joys of comics, is that there's always going to be a storyline where something gets retconned and nothing is ever 100% consistent with your character. So when people are like, "That's not blah blah blah," which comic line are you running? Because currently you could have 5 or 6 options, and sure, you couldn't like it, but it could be happening. And so there's a lot of interesting things as far as comics go. Because no comic has ever been 100%, but like, this is the entire factual thing of our universe. But again, when you have so many hands-on projects, that's where issues can form, and people keep trying to do like different variants of different things, and people get tired of it. And Deadpool made the joke, everyone's trying to do it. It's just people are tired of it. If like you made an entire movie to make a joke about it, I think they're very well aware that fans have mixed feelings and mixed receptions to the product, so things need to be done well. So like, if they're going to bring Fassbender back, they would need to do so with very strong plans to use his version of the X-Men, even just cameoing or just in general, continue from there.
That's if they bring them in, because that would have to be within right now. Most of that stuff is occurring in the 616 universe, right? That's where most of the stuff seems to be occurring. We still don't have definites and stuff, which means Beast and I think Binary and stuff like that are all in the 1000, which means it's possible that you can have the original Storm and Cyclops also make a cameo appearance and maybe give them a chance to redeem themselves, so that for having Wolverine and Beast, because they were the some of the original ones when all this stuff went down. So you ain't got to bring back Jean, because we know what happened with Jean and stuff like that. So
don't bring back none of them.
Leave that alone. But you can, like, it's possible that they will bring back Cyclops and Storm and stuff like that to meet up with Wolverine and Beast and run that however they want. They don't have to bring back Iceman, because we've already resolved the issues with Pyro and stuff like that, and that was kind of his main thing. So that you don't have to bring back, Kitty Pryde. can bring back Rogue and stuff like that.
You can
if
bring
you
back
wanted
Goblin
to,
Queen from X-Men
but
97.
You stop that.
stop it. You stop it.
I'm just saying.
So,
I'm just saying.
but again, there's Kelsey Grammer's Beast is going to play a bigger role in Secret Wars since he had a cameo in the Marvels. It's possible. Again, freaking, it just depends on how they're going to do the Secret Wars, how they're going to do Doomsday, like how the whole setup's going to be. Is everything going to be brought together? Right now, we got stuff in separate timelines. Like, where does this stuff converge? We don't know because they're still playing around with timelines right now. Like, I would be happy once they get it together and so like that. If you want to have this timeline running concurrent to this timeline and they're separate things, so that's fine. If you're going to pull it all together in one, then you really got to have that, which Doom is, that big level threat that would involve bringing in Avengers and X-Men and everything else. Because we already got that stuff with Thanos, where you got bringing in Wakanda, and you got bringing in Guardians, and you got bringing in Avengers. It's like, cool, we're getting there, we're doing that. We've already done Infinity War and Endgame, so like that. So if you're gonna go to this scale again, so like that, I want you to go to this scale, but I want it to be brutal. Like Doom is that character to
Character
be
deaths
brutal.
that matter, and we're gonna stop
Yeah.
retconning people and bringing them back for no reason other than money. Let their death mean something, please. Robert
RDJ.
Downey Jr. Stop.
Yeah. RDJ, again, I love him. I love him as an actor. I love him as Iron Man, stuff like that. You brought him back, stuff like that. And while I'm not gonna lie, I was excited to see him back in the Marvel Universe. I just do not think this is the way he should have came back in. I would love to see him as part of the Ironheart series and being the AI for her to kind of get her freaking going and get her started. That would be great. Freaking if you brought him in as Superior Iron Man or something like that, different ones like that, that would make sense. How they plan on doing it? If they decide to bring him in and you have him as one of the Doom variants like that, and you have a bigger, badder Doom, eliminate his, his variants like that, akin to something like with Kang or something like that. And then you have, say, again, like if you had Mads come in and stuff like that, and off him freaking and like, I am freaking,
There can be
Doom. So
one Doom.
yeah, that would be freaking ridiculous. So that you have options to kind of play with. But yeah, I would like to see Kelsey Grammer's Beast. He was one of my favorite beasts. I would love to see him have that interaction and be there. I would love to see, the original Cyclops and Storm try and get a little bit of redemption at some point. But again, if they don't, I'm not mad at it. Like, let's just be honest.
Let's just get new actors and actresses. Like, no offense to those
Well,
two, they didn't.
it's only the
provide
fact
much
is that they
there.
have him. Only the fact that they actually have Kelsey Grammer there, and we have, Wolverine.
They died tragically off screen. I don't know what to tell you. We have to move on.
Or just get a younger version of him. Get a younger Beast.
Get the younger one.
Yeah, do the OG X-Men. Bring in a young Beast, no blue fur. Bring Iceman in. Or let Iceman stay.
I'm saying, like, would it be what would they do? Is it going to be a passing of the torch kind of thing? So
passing what?
Is going to be
if
I say we already have the OG Beast in the timeline, like he's already there and present. What are we going to do with him?
Leave him in the timeline.
Again, they're part of they're all in the same timeline.
He can hang out. He can hang out with Wolverine and Deadpool over there. Start me a new X-Men over here. Give me the OG X-Men. Yeah, give me an OG over here. It could be the young kids, the babies.
That's what I'm saying. If they keep the timeline separate and they have Deadpool, Wolverine, and all this stuff running over here, cool. I'm fine with that. You can do all that stuff. You can bring back Cyclops and Storm and have them do a thing over here to have a moment and kind of close out the chapter and be done with all that. Cool. And then over here, you can have the new Avengers running, and you have the X-Men who were in hiding, freaking because there was no reason to bring them out. They were trying to learn their powers. They were under Xavier's school, whatever, so like that. But now stuff that hit the fan or then came to their front door, and now they gotta out themselves. They gotta be mutants out there.
It would be amazing to see Oscar Isaac like run into Apocalypse as Moon Knight and be like,
that would be hilarious.
I know you. And be like, just so it'd be like a kind of like a Deadpool-esque moment for Moon Knight, and then just carry on with your serious conversation.
One thing you could do with the Kelsey Grammer Beast version is while he's running around with Deadpool and Wolverine running through the timelines, have him find a timeline where he's like, you know what, I like it here. I think I'm gonna stay. I mean, we have multiple timelines. and say, hey, they don't have a beast. They need my help, and leave him there. Then when you got the new team coming out, give me the OG X-Men with not the, I don't need Storm. She wasn't there. I don't need Wolverine. He wasn't there. I don't need Rogue. She wasn't there. Give me Iceman to look like a snowman. I need teenage kids learning their powers with Xavier. You know, you got kind of a show in that in them horrible X-Men movies where Professor X went to go find Jean Grey and she was already so powerful and he put the blocker in. I need that. Let me see Cyclops and Jean start their love affair. I need to see that. Let it be make this a story. We know who they are. People know who they are. You've had enough X-Men, things out for people to know who these characters are. You don't have to bring
it enough that you don't have to explain it again.
Right. You know who
this is
the Xavier Mansion.
And Crime Alley. We don't need to see it.
We don't need to see it. You got Angel, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Beast, a young Beast with no blue fur, and Iceman. That's your X-Men. Get them started. That's the young team. Then your next movie that you come out with, now they're established. They're in their late 20s. The school has expanded. Oh, I went to Africa and I found Aurora. Now you could bring in new X-Men and build it just like you did with the Avengers. Build up the universe before you give us a big, gigantic team up. I don't need Apocalypse to be fighting the X-Men in the first movie. That will not make any sense to me. I don't need the Hellfire Club. That makes no sense to me. Give me the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Give me the young ones. Rogue is a member of them because she was. Let's see them fight. That would be great. That's what I would want.
As like chat goes, like Deadpool meeting Kelsey Grammer's Beast would be hilarious. I would hope that Deadpool just makes a bunch of Frasier-esque jokes. Like, do you only play like stuck-up geeks? Is that like the only thing you know how to do acting-wise? And just take direct shots at Kelsey Grammer because that seems to be like what his niche seems to be. And then as far as like we've gotten two versions of Sentinels and X-Men Days of Future Past. Could we see comic accurate bulky Sentinels after MCU X-Men is introduced? I mean, is that
you would have
what the people need?
It's very much so, because if you think about everything that's about to happen with Red Hulk and everything so like that, you could see establishing a program to start freaking, because they already hinted at scanning who superheroes and stuff are with the whole Shield program that was
with
being
Winter
enacted
Soldier.
with chips with that. So if you enact that somebody take that same technology and they've applied it to the Sentinel program,
Trask.
right? And then you have that build up. So now you have mutants and stuff being targeted and so like that. And now they can't be in hiding anymore because now it's been upgraded because of Trask's ambitions and how he wants to handle it. He singled out the X gene and stuff like that to be targeted, as well as just superheroes in general. Anybody who has abnormalities within their blood. And you can have him testing on, mutants and stuff that he's found and stuff like that, making him the real big bad for that and set that stuff up. And with Red Hulk being the president and now just rampaging and doing whatever he's doing, because it's going to be outed. Everybody's going to see the president is Red Hulk because it looks like he transformed during a little rally. Now you have reason for the government to put in place the Sentinels and everything that are going to start wrapping people up and doing stuff. And you're going to have that period where it's like Sentinels are policing everything, and then the X-Men decide to fight back. And that's when you get the whole Sentinel versus X-Men thing going down, and you can really start building up those characters, finding other mutants, and kind of setting up the entire storyline for X-Men to get rid of Sentinels or fight them in general. So,
but see, everything we saying sound pretty much how it should go, which means it's not going to go that way.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely,
because everything you said, think about it. It's literally makes sense. You got a group of 5 young mutants out here fighting Sentinels, and the Sentinels don't have to be 70, 80 feet tall. They could be, 30 stories, 30 floors. That's big enough. They don't have to be the huge CGI gigantic, I can see you from another state size Sentinel.
They need to be the eternal sized Sentinels.
Right. They don't have to be like that. They don't have to be. They can, in fact, you could possibly get away with them being human size or above, 7 feet tall. You could get away with that.
I'll go Colossus the way they've been doing Colossus and stuff with Deadpool stuff.
Well,
I would
Colossus
go,
is like 7'1", I think,
yeah,
or something like that.
I,
So you
I'll
could
go
go
around
his
that.
size.
Or even
You,
like
you
the whatever the enemy was in Thor 1, the one who came down to Earth and started causing havoc.
oh,
Whatever that power
Oh
Destroyer.
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah, Freaking Destroyer.
Destroyer. Like that, you
Yeah,
could something of that size.
yeah,
Like, yep,
you
that checks
somewhere in
out.
there. You can find
and
a
that's
happy place
and that's
somewhere in there.
perfect. And that's perfect. That'd be a perfect size for a young team. And then while they're fighting, you can pull from the OG X-Men on, hey, they're chasing a mutant in the mall. Ooh, the mutant just so happens to be Jubilee. Oh, guess what? Let's save her. Now we have another one in the school. I mean, you can do this many ways to make it make sense. But I still want a Cyclops that is like great. I still want that.
Mm-hmm. I want to honestly. I'm saying this, I want a Cyclops like the Batman. Again, he's coming into his own. He's learning. So that he's got to learn to be that leader and sort of that. So he's going to go through process. He's going to go through loss in that process. He's trying to develop a relationship with Jean. So you have all that to build on. He's
Yep.
learning to be the the badass that we know him to be.
And
And
he's the
then
de facto leader of
he's the de
them.
facto leader. That's what comes in, and that's when
Well,
you
field
bring
leader.
in, yeah, field leader. And then when you come in and you bring Storm in later and stuff like that, shows good. Again, like all that stuff is kind of in, and they're able to bounce off each other. Again, you have that team 1 and team 2 kind of thing. Like you have all that stuff really kind of span out, so they're able to
And
do multiple
So
objectives
I'm
and
basically
things all in the
hearing you want
process.
X-Men 97 and some of the stories they've already told live action.
actually,
No, I mean X-Men itself. No,
you could
Did,
take this
go ahead.
X-Men First Class would be a great example of where you can take from, even though that wasn't the worst movie, but it was decent enough to where I could look at and like, you don't need to name every single mutant. You can just have them use their powers and talk about them later. And that way you'll give a good shout out to the people like me and Will who read X-Men. It's like when we saw, the girl running through the wall, oh, we knew that was Kitty Pryde. Nobody else did. We knew who it was. When we saw, before we knew he was Iceman, when he put his hand over on the desk and he made ice rolls, we knew that was Bobby. We knew who that was. So you could do it that way. You don't have to force feed us 90 to 95 mutants per movie. Give us 10, give us 5 that we know, and let us hunt for the other ones. And that would be a great way to start off the X-Men. Like I said, the Sentinels can be the big bad. Trask can be the big bad in the first movie. He has to be established anyway. He needs to be established because he is a major threat to the X-Men's universe. He needs to be the guy that's like, okay, we got to worry about him. And then you can take it from there and start as they get older. You get you can even bring a Gravitron, the gravity guy, if you wanted to. You can bring him in, make him a big bad. Even though he's a B-list villain, you still got a young squad. You can't have them fighting your best villains. Not
They
movie
don't
one.
need to.
Right. You don't. You got to get them established. You can set their time back in the 80s, just like you've been doing. That explain the youth, and then have that time move up to where it catches up with the MCU. And that way you can explain, well, why haven't they been here? Well, they're still training. They weren't good enough to help out, but now they are. And then by the time you could get at least 3 movies in, they should be vets. They should be experienced. You should have 2 teams of 5 now. Storm leading one, Cyclops leading the other. You can have the Wolverine and Deadpool jump back in and say, hey, we need y'all help. You can have that now. It will make sense, but it makes too much sense.
It's like sometimes making too much sense is too much of a problem. And usually, and I'll just say this about all comics and all books and basically anything in geekdom in general, there will never be a consensus where everybody of every background 100% agrees on how things should be done. Some things we'll have said today, people will be like, they're completely off their rocker. I don't know where they're going with this. This doesn't make any sense. And other times you'll be just nodding along and be like, keep cooking. I like what we got going on here. There's some good stories here. We cover a lot of stuff there. If we could cover a lot of the in-depth stuff just well enough without doing a full rehash of the X-Men, because we've seen the X-Men technically 3 different times since the 2000s started. At a certain point, either you know or you don't know. And it's like, maybe just turn to a geek fan and be like, hey, who's this guy wearing this weird eye goggles thing? What the heck's his deal? What's he all about? And be like, okay, you can just kind of give him like a little spiel, kind of introduce him, because like you don't always have to be that comic head, be like, oh, I know everything that's ever happened about Cyclops since the moment he was born to the moment he ended, in every single storyline that's ever took place or ever will take place.
Age of
Those
Apocalypse.
geeks do exist, but you know,
Greatest
at the same
Cyclops
time.
ever.
And then, like as Brandon's saying, we got cool seeing Sentinels and Bolivar Trask MCU. Sentinels be creepy if they can talk like the '90s X-Men show. Look, the '90s X-Men show slapped. I was so wrong about that series. I came in with minimal expectations, no hope of it being great, and boy, was I just sitting all kinds of wrong by the end of it.
I mean,
it was one of the
we
best
told you
series.
this. I think we told you this.
You told
You're
me
gonna
this
listen.
based upon nostalgia alone. You were hoping based that they would hit the same nostalgia that the '90s series hit. I didn't even like the '90s series. X-Men '97 hit on every single episode.
It's
There was no
still one
episode where I was like
season.
Will or Tony be like, "Hey, what the heck? What's going on here? What's going on with this? What's going on with that?" Every single episode is like, I can't wait to sit down and discuss what the heck just happened, because my mind is blown. Where are we going with this? What's happening here? Where are we going with that? And I know there's a lot of drama and controversy surrounding season 2 of X-Men '97 and the creator. We're not really going to be
We'll
here
talk
to
about
talk
that.
about it, but like, we're just hoping season 2 hits the same way season 1 hits. We just want
I got a
the
question.
same level of continuity. Go ahead.
It's for both of y'all. How many seasons of X-Men '97 do you need to be this level for it to be put into the greatest animated superhero show of all time? To be up there with Batman the animated series. How many seasons do you need for it to hit?
Shit. How many seasons did Batman the Animated Series have?
Oh, it's like
I
8 or
thought it hit
9,
like 10.
Like 9, really?
15.
It was up there.
It put it like this. You can't tell me one season that wasn't great in that show. They all
There's
great.
never going to be a show that's as good as that one. I will die on that hill, regardless of how this goes.
I don't know.
I think
that
about
OG
like
Spider-Man
4 or
was pretty
5
good.
animated seasons before we consider it in that conversation. Because even shows like Adventure Time have stuff where they've had 5 seasons of greatness, and you're just like, really? This show of all shows? It's not Batman. It never will be Batman. But it's like, this is 5 animated great seasons back to back to back to back to back.
I'm having a hard time with this question because it's a continuation of the original X-Men series, so it's got a lot to build off of. It's not just like a standalone and stuff like that.
So you would add this to the original mythos?
No, it's based off the original mythos. So I think it's got a lot more to work. It didn't just have to come in and stand on its own and so that. So I think you could get away with. I think you can get away with, depending on how it goes, because one season's been a banger. I think you can do, at minimum, you can do 3. I think 5 would be a nice round number to give it.
Let's not forget though, even though it's a continuation of the OG, season 5 of the OG was not good.
Season 5 was not good, and so that.
So
that's what I'm saying.
That
Like,
diminishes the OG. That diminishes the
it
OG
takes it
just
down
a
a
little
notch,
bit.
so that, but you know it. The things that they've been doing with this series, again, like the changing of the intros, the little stuff that makes it feel like it's staying current with everything that's got going on in this theme. I can give it, 3 to 5 seasons, again, because it depends on what storylines are running. 3 to 5 seasons to give it a solid freaking place. If you want it to be like up there with like Batman level and stuff like that.
Batman only had 4 apparently, and I just looked up. Batman only has 4 seasons.
Yeah.
But the thing with that is they had like 20 episodes a season. So
yeah,
I mean,
they were
10, they had like 8 seasons by our standards.
They had a lot of episodes. In fact,
so if they extend, so we did 10 episodes because you remember, basically they're treating everything as like one season is like a pilot now. One season is a pilot. Like you gotta, if that season doesn't hit, they'll cancel the whole show. When they used to just cancel it based off of the first episode. So
season 1
if you
had 60 episodes of Batman the animated.
Yeah. So I think
that's why it felt like 10. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you do this one with season 2, they got to get progressively longer. Don't do a short season. Don't do like an 8-episode season. Start with the 10. I think that if you really want to flush out these stories, extend the season and give me like 4 more seasons at least.
Of
If
10
you can
episodes?
extend the season if you can extend it for more than 10 episodes, it's got to be more than 10 episodes.
Even if it's just 12.
So it's got to be
That
more.
changes things.
I'll take 12. But you definitely got to get up there.
Because like Invincible is starting to creep up into that area where we have to start
Yeah, it
looking at
is.
it with certain levels of respect. Because it's 3 seasons in, and it's been straight bangers, start to finish.
Well, I mean, also
Maybe
they're
one
sticking
dud
a lot to
episode here or there.
they're sticking a lot to the comics more than everybody else.
Yeah.
They when you look at Invincible, you're looking at the comic book.
They're doing panel for panel very, very well. They're doing what Watchmen did in the early 2000s.
They're doing it as much as you can because it is some things that they cannot do. It's just like The Boys.
It's just too dark.
It is some things that they cannot do in The Boys and put on the show. It's a lot that they have done. So you got to think the stuff that they've done on the show. Think about what they couldn't do on the show. Herogasm. But Invincible is pretty much line for line. That's why people are liking it, because like me, I read most of the books and I'm like, okay. And they are making minor changes to it to still keep you guessing. But again, the changes they make sense and it doesn't disrupt the show. And that's the key with Invincible. I think if you give Invincible
2 more seasons,
3 more seasons that don't drop in this quality, they go on my top. They go on my top list.
Because I was gonna say they have still several big bads left to go, and it's not like the quality drop when you're escalating from things.
Well, The Boys is about to be over, and they got a lot of big bads. You got Conquest, you got Anissa coming, you got Thrag, the big bad. You got a lot that's coming, and just be prepared when Anissa show up, because
the internet has spoiled that one for me accidentally. I won't spoil it for those of you who know.
Don't spoil it here.
It's something.
And she is
a lot to deal with.
And speaking of Invincibles, you got me on here. None of them can beat Kryptonian, so stop telling me this. But they're also the strong. They're arguably not even the strongest in their own universe, because you got them monsters on that can kill them. They can be killed. But Anissa is probably the second or third most vicious Viltrumite. Her and Conquest are neck and neck. Her and Conquest are neck to neck.
And then on top of that, Invincible could take out Homelander super easily. I'm just putting that out there. I think people need to come understand that it's so
old.
light.
You mean grown up Invincible, adult Invincible?
I'm talking about like even Invincible's dad. Like
Omni-Man cannot take out Homelander.
Batman the animated series was 2 seasons.
Why is the internet telling me 4?
And with 800 episodes. How many episodes? They had like 900.
It was first season. This is what I'm saying. First of a couple of places. First season 65 episodes.
See,
that's like
second season 20 episodes, and then the third season was the new Batman Adventures, which wasn't listed as the Batman the animated series. It was the Batman the new Adventures.
So basically, you got almost 100. You got almost 100 episodes. So yeah, that's at least 4 seasons.
Yeah,
it's listed under. It's listed as 1 season.
Oh, I know it is, but it's still 65 episodes is not 1 season.
That's what it's. Everything I'm reading is listed as, because it was running concurrent. That's what I was looking at.
It was going nonstop,
which is absurd.
So that's why it's listed that way. That's what I was trying to figure out. Because I'm like, it didn't make any sense. Like there was no breaks in it. So that's why I had to look it up. Like, what is it? Why was there no breaks if it was per season? Because we never had to wait for it. It's just like you get up and Saturday morning you're watching.
I saw the same thing you're talking about, Brandon. I saw the exact same thing where it's like 4 seasons for Batman the animated series, but
we did.
Like you got 10 or 11.
But the problem is with 80 episodes, if we do the normal breakdown, that is 7 seasons
at minimum.
That's 7 seasons, because it felt and you got to think. I grew up with it. Y'all grew up with it. We're not worried about the old school TVs. You couldn't see season 1 episode blah blah blah. You just knew it was coming on and you watched it. So we didn't know nothing about seasons. We just knew it was on. So, but no, back to your BS. Homelander can beat Omni-Man.
Really?
Yeah, it'll be a good fight. But both of them together couldn't beat Superman, or Sentry, or Blue Marvel, or Hyperion would murder both of them quick. King Hyperion would murder all the Viltrumites planet. Just he go blow the planet up.
Who do you think should play Squirrel Girl if MCU wants to introduce? They're not going to introduce Squirrel Girl.
You know who? Perfect
is
Squirrel
absurd.
Girl. I don't know her name, but she's the AT&T girl. You know who I'm talking about.
The one
that does the AT&T commercials. Not the progressive girl, the AT&T girl. You know who I'm talking about. I can't remember her name.
No one can remember her name. We just know her as the AT&T girl. She had a couple cameos in Silicon Valley that were funny, but
Lily Adams, that's her name.
Yeah.
Lily Adams she looks exactly like Squirrel Girl. Go look her up. You'll see. Look exactly like her.
I'm just saying we're never going to get Squirrel Girl. She's too impossible to do on MCU, even if you scaled her down drastically.
You couldn't scale her down.
We have Doom. I cannot rule out Squirrel Girl showing.
You cannot.
Look, they're doing Young Avengers, Champions, all that stuff. Squirrel Girl was a part of. She was there.
Facts.
So, in fact, we have Doom coming into the universe, and
you need a heavy hitter.
She's one of the only people who has been in that position.
And she undefeated.
She is undefeated.
She's undefeated. She's beaten Thanos, Doom. Who's that other dude? Like everybody she's won against, she has won. So and nobody knows how. We can't rule out Squirrel Girl.
Her feat list is ridiculous. That's why I cannot fathom them putting her on screen in a way that will satisfy everybody. Because especially if you showed a casual person, a girl who's literally a squirrel defeating Dr. Doom or Robert Downey Jr., where people are going to be satisfied with that conclusion.
I don't care about them. This is all about me. This is all about me right now. I don't care about
straight shenanigans.
It's all about me. I don't care about none of them.
Because Squirrel Girl's just broken.
She is broken.
She's about as unbroken as someone like watching a YouTube channel for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and not being subscribed to the channel. Because at that point, you're like, there's definitely something you love or like to see going on there.
Facts.
I mean, she's great. The fact is that you can go to Marvel. Go type in Marvel and type in Squirrel Girl and look at her freaking full thing. She's all 7s across the board on everything.
She's everything.
Speed, strength, intelligence, everything. Like she is.
Broken. You know who else is? You know who else is an OP underrated character? Y'all might not. Will might know.
Mix up like
Dupe.
I don't even know what that is or what
Dupe is a big green floating booger.
Oh yeah.
Dupe does everything imaginable. Everything. His name is Dupe. He's X Factor. Right?
Yeah, freaking yeah. He just looks like a sad Slimer. Like I don't.
Yeah,
like,
that's all he's and he does, but he does everything.
Thought this was a good idea.
That character is so broken. He does not lose to anybody. He is the end of all.
Pickle Rick.
Yeah.
Nah, he would beat Pickle Rick.
He is strong.
He would beat. I'm telling you, he would beat Pickle Rick in a fight.
Wild.
So yeah, Dupe.
Make some of these most absurd characters to just
Dupe.
Like even
I just like the name.
Fight their like author and writer. I don't understand the purpose of this other than because you just want broken power scaling. So geeks like us will sit here and debate who can fight who head on, and it's just like a never-ending battle unless you have like the actual science behind it, like Death Battle does. There's just no way of concretely saying with the definition why this makes sense, because like you're telling me a green booger and a squirrel are the two biggest threats to universes that we have going on.
Yep.
Like that.
Dupe.
You say I have this conversation with a rational human being, they're looking at you like, are you
one of his friends is
and where do I get from?
Yeah, his friend, and he don't speak English. He speaks like signs, like
he's got a translator.
He speaks hieroglyphics. It's ridiculous. Dupe. I love Dupe.
What's with you and obscure characters?
That's what I have to do, because if I don't, they fall by the wayside, and we can't have that.
No, not at all.
It was like back when we had that DC draft on the channel that it should not be named, and you were pulling the weirdest shenanigans out there,
and it was working. You
picked out the spirit of the helmet.
That was Naboo. It was Naboo.
Like, why?
Why not? I followed the rules. Not unlike certain people who was getting, cosmic beings, I followed the rules. No, it wasn't Will. It was thou who should not be named.
Mm-hmm.
But
I know
no,
Will was the one that kicked it off because he picked an Archangel for whatever reason.
I follow the rules.
That's not the rule. You couldn't take archangels. No.
People
But you
just
could
allowed
take
it because they're being
Naboo.
nice.
You could take Naboo though.
It
I
was
picked
allowed.
Lobo because I was sane, but
Lobo was
apparently
a
not.
great pick. Lobo was a great pick.
It was the only great pick I had the whole draft. We need to have a Geek Variants draft where somehow we come up with another rendition of that, just modified ever so slightly to where it makes sense and it's not like, well, Tony's team can beat out Will's team in such and such a battle. It needs to be like an objective or a plan or something like that to where it could be actually makes sense. We're not sitting here going like a Dragon Ball Z argument where it's like so and so ready to fight so and so.
We can take scenarios from like you said, Dragon Ball or DC or Marvel or Wildstorm. We could take scenarios from there, set limits, and then draft a team to see if they can beat the scenarios.
It's an interesting premise and definitely one I want to follow up upon at some point. Maybe if you guys like that kind of concept, by all means, the comment section is where to be. When you want to see certain styles of content, the like button, I swear to goodness, and the comment section is where you tell us. I've literally done things because people just said, hey, take a look at this. And then we ended up finding out that, holy cow, this was an absolute banger. I've been sleeping on this. Like the anime Windbreaker. I had no idea what that was. And then someone left a comment on one of, I think it was a My Hero Academia or Demon Slayer video saying, hey, take a look at this. And then a couple other credible people I know in life said, hey, take a look at this. Yo, I can't say enough good things about this hand-to-hand combat anime with, child gangs. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Like, Tony, you would absolutely adore this anime because it is straight fists and straight fighting styles. There's no shenanigans. There's no weird power-ups. There's no anything
and that's
about what's going on.
And that's what I hate about anime. It's just too much I gotta follow. It's too many different, earth form, fire breathing, wind style 6. I can't get behind all that. I can't do it. I can't.
Even though earlier you said you like Demon Slayer.
I do like Demon Slayer.
What that is.
But it's only because I like certain characters on Demon Slayer.
Who is your favorite Demon Slayer character? Is it my boy?
I don't know where he fell.
Is it my pig boy?
Yes. I got him. He's up here somewhere. I don't know where I put him. Inosuke. That's
is it Inosuke or is it Tengen?
I'll suck at names.
My favorite. Inosuke is still my boy though.
The one that's got the little bladed, the blades, the serrated blades.
Yeah,
that's Inosuke.
That's my
favorite, and he's basically.
I don't know where he is. He was up here. He probably fell.
I mean, he just fell into the Infinity Castle, so that'll be interesting.
He's up there somewhere.
Yeah, he's doing exactly what Tony would have been doing.
Sleeping?
Trying to eat.
He's trying to eat, and then he got summoned to a big battle. And he's like, instead of being terrified, he's like, all right, super excited, ready to go.
All right, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Giving him inches, right?
I mean, there's a lot of interesting times there to be had.
Shenanigans.
We definitely have to take a look at that draft scenario and bringing that back in some regards. Maybe that'll be something like around December we can take a look at concretely.
During slow time?
During a slow time, because like November is supposed to be very slow. January might be slow, depending on what Marvel does. I know Marvel's got a lot of properties and IPs, and I know Star Wars is trying to push Andor out for sometime early 2025. But I haven't seen anything concretely for me to believe that we're going to get great stuff. I just know Skeleton Crew and War of the Rohirrim are hitting in December. Otherwise, it's pretty dry. Content period is going to be pretty much you guys leaving suggestions. I know Dragon Ball, the next one, Sparking Zero, taking a look at that. Baldur's Gate 3. Supermarket Simulator is running in full go.
Please go watch that. Oh, my God. Please go watch that. Please watch it.
It's funny.
And it's only funny because of Brent. That's the only reason it's funny.
I can't believe Will actually made it to the Supermarket Simulator because you don't normally watch our content.
Normally, I do watch content, so that it's just that I usually watch it with people, so because I'm showing people. But no, the Supermarket Simulator is hilarious. So
I still want to get us on that one where we all can play.
That's the other Supermarket Together or something. That's a different company, different. And so I'm not sure. Have you been on it yet?
I have not. I want Brent to be in charge, and I just want to run security, and it will steal stuff. That's what I see happening.
would all be about shenanigans and just doing stuff that would just make me want to pull my hair out, which would be hilarious. And Tony has seen me kind of lose my mind. I've lost my mind on a couple episodes coming up, so that's definitely something to go ahead and take a look for. I'm trying to drop them Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm not trying to drop them on the weekends anymore.
I don't understand how you lose your mind over people who can't talk back to you.
Why did someone buy like 6 peanut butters? Who needs that much peanut butter in their life?
No, it was one of their.
I love it, but why?
She bought like 4 flowers and a box of cereal, and I was like, "What are you making?"
And then back to chat before I go through all these shenanigans. Tom Holland Spider-Man 4 happens depending if Sony and Marvel come to agreement. Could Timothy Chalamet be introduced as Harry Osborn? I cannot see that casting in any way, shape, or form. That could just be me. Chalamet, to me, still has minimal acting chops, and I know people love Doom. I just don't care for him as an imposing or domineering or even psychological threat to anybody or anything. He looks like someone you could literally just have a strong breeze and he's gone. There's nothing about him that screams Harry Osborn. Dave Franco or James Franco, I don't remember which Franco was a better Harry Osborn, and I still wasn't a fan of that. So we're just kind of... It's a tough sell for me, Brandon. It's a tough sell. But, I mean, if you like Chalamet, I hope he gets cast. I just hope he does a good job. That's all I could really want. I've been wrong on so many things about casting. It's not even funny. So. All
the time.
And yet I was the one calling for Mads Mikkelsen where you were like, you know what? They should have done this.
Again, everything happens every now and then. You're 1 out of 10.
Still happens. Still counts. So, is there anything else you gentlemen really want to discuss in depth, or you think we've basically beaten this horse for?
Let's see. We talked about
Marvel,
that.
DC, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. We talked about gaming. We talked about anime. Like
we've talked about how Iron Man sucks.
Sufficiently. And how we're all very displeased with Robert Downey Jr. coming back because his character had a perfect ending.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. We covered everything.
So, with that being said, guys, be sure to hit that lovely red subscribe button if you like all the shenanigans that ensued here. The next time you will see our shenanigans live will be me for Rings of Power. Well, no, it'll actually be Kite Man the night before, Wednesday night, and then Rings of Power the following day.
Don't count me out on Rings of Power yet.
Count him out. He's going to be sleeping.
I know, right?
I want to believe. I just, expectations for James Gunn Super Mario, it'll be better than everyone anticipates. How about that for a hot take?
I agree.
Just saying, you got to trust James Gunn with the universe that he's made. He made Guardians of the Galaxy relevant, and even in Marvel Comics, the Guardians were there, but would you say that they are the most relevant entity out there?
No.
Probably not. Most people, when you say Guardians of the Galaxy were announced, were like, who? What? Why? Is this even a thing we care about? And now look how prominently and beloved they are. So hopefully with the trailer dropping, it'll be good. I'm rooting for all good things. Geek, I wouldn't root against any company or any entity in any way, shape, or form, as long as they're trying to give us all good content, at reasonable prices. So I believe that's all for me. Tony, any final comments other than Iron Man sucks?
No, I think we've covered that Iron Man sucks.
Will, how do you feel about Iron Man sucking?
Sick of both of y'all.
We go to the VA.
We're not sick of you, so be sure to hit the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next episode.